Hey guys, before we get into the podcast, this episode is sponsored by Power, Australia's #1 alkaline water, trusted for its high pH and ultra hydrating benefits. Whether you're training, recovering, or just staying sharp, Power helps you keep your body in balance. Find it in major supermarkets, health food stores, and selected petrol stations across Australia. Go to alkapower.com.au if you want to learn more. Nutrition Warehouse, not your average supplement store. If you're serious about lifting, this is the place. No fluffs, just high quality proteins and pre-workouts. Every supplement need that you would require, found under one roof inside every Nutrition Warehouse store. Over 120 stores across Australia and New Zealand, and founded by former Mr. World NABBA champion Grant Mayo. Nutrition Warehouse is built for lifters who mean business. Shop in store or online, nutritionwarehouse.com.au, and grab a cheeky 50% off, that's 15% off, by using discount code MUSCLETALKS, either online or in store. Seriously, skip the random tubs and wandering aisles. These guys are legends. They've got your stack, they've got your back. Nutrition Warehouse, macro foods, ready-made meals that actually hit your macros. Tasty, high-protein meals designed to fuel your goals without the prep time. Head to Macro Foods, that's macrofoods with a Z.com.au, and use code MTP10 for 10% off all your orders. macrofoods.com.au and use code MTP10 for 10% off all your orders. I thought you could do anything with guns in America. You can't shoot it off in the air?
Not in Boston, and I live in Phoenix. You can't do that here. You can't discharge a weapon within city limits. I have a gun right here.
What? Oh my God, that is crazy.
Again, that kind of comes back to the comparisons of the physiques now to the physiques maybe 15 or 20 years ago. I think they're giving out way too many pro cards.
Yeah.
They're kind of just watering it down too much. When we ordered the food in the Chinese restaurant, they had a TV screen.
Oh.
And then you saw like news, what was happening. The bomb just went off at the end of the marathon, and we were like right down the street from it. Bodybuilding is a business.
It's a business.
Yeah. They want to make money. Getting stronger equaled bigger, thicker muscle. I competed through the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. So when I competed in the 80s, I looked up to Franco Colombo. I looked up to Bertil Fox. I looked up Tom Platz.
Yes, Tom Platz as well.
Bodybuilders that were very strong. And of course, Lee Haney, you'd see pictures in magazines. He was a strong fella too.
Born and raised South Jersey. Another BMX bandit. Once, twice, 3 times you're out of school. Or schools. Started competing at 14, 1999 North America, becoming a pro. 2001 Toronto Pro, his first pro show. Competed against the greats like Kevin Levrone, Paul DeMayo, Dexter Jackson, Jay Cutler, Chris Cormier, Lee Priest, Milos Sanchez, and we just spoke off air saying how much we'd been intimidated. I don't know about this lineup, bro. You'd be very intimidated. 585 bench press, 225 incline dumbbell press, 855 squats, 855 deadlifts. Opportunity to compete at the Mr. Olympia, natural or not, we shall find out. 50 bodybuilding competitions, why blood work and blood pressure tests are important. When he came to God. The man who's married the 2 words of bodybuilding and wellness together. Please help me welcome Mike Morris, IFBB Pro Mike Morris. How are you, bro?
Hi, Stephen. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, mate, how are you? Look, I look at you in your singlet there, and you got, and it's summer, and we're in winter here.
Yeah, well, it's Arizona here, so today was about 100. Well, it's still probably about 110 outside. So when I'm in my house, I like to stay cool and comfortable.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Well, you know what? We're going to go back a little bit what we just spoke off air, and I was trying to say that bodybuilding in America is really embraced at a very young age, you know? And I've also heard wrestling is a big thing in America too. There's kind of these two things. You're either, if you're 6'2", you should be a wrestler. And if you're under 6 foot, you should be a bodybuilder. It's something like that. I learned that from Ed Connors. But yeah, you guys really embrace bodybuilding at quite a young age. Is that correct in me saying so? Because if anyone really bodybuilt or went and competed here, I'd be very surprised. And if everyone can correct me, you know, when we launch this podcast, but it's kind of like maybe 16 or 7 or even 18. But you guys can start at a very young age. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I started at the age of 14.
Yeah.
And, which is kind of unusually young. When I did my first show at 14, the other competitors were like 16 at the youngest and then up from there. And some were 18, 19. So it was kind of unusual. But I also, you say America too. So I grew up in New Jersey, and New Jersey is very densely populated. You got New Jersey, New York, and so that whole eastern kind of seaboard there. Yeah. There's a lot more bodybuilders there than the rest of the country. So I guess I grew up in a state that was in an area that had more bodybuilders as far as like the teenage. But 14 is really young to start. So.
Yeah, no, it is. Well, seeing that I've mentioned all those lifts, the 885 bench press, the 225 incline press, all that stuff. What is it about bodybuilding then tapping into powerlifting? I didn't really see that in the golden era. I mean, I see it now. A lot of bodybuilders are, you know, powerlifting as well. I mean, Franco Columbo, he did some powerlifting, even boxing. And I think sometimes even, you know, bodybuilding started like as a strongman era. Remember there was that strongman era, the nice body holding that kind of old style dumbbell. And even Ronnie Coleman, I saw Ronnie Coleman doing, you know, powerlifting, deadlifts. But I'm not sure who else. Like I didn't see Lee Lambrada, I didn't see Rick Gaspari, Milos Sachev, I didn't see Sean Ray. I mean, I didn't see that. But I mean, what is it about powerlifting and how come you liked breaking records in that area?
Well, I started at the age of 12 working out.
Yep.
And I noticed, you know, I went through all kinds of different training methods and philosophies and stuff. But there were a few constants that I found. And the one constant that I found is with overload of weight and overload of intensity, I would get bigger.
Okay. Yes.
So, when I first joined the World Gym, I was probably 13 years old. I couldn't shoulder press. I'd go to the shoulder press machine where they had the Olympic bar, and I couldn't shoulder press 45 pounds over my head.
Right.
So I had to grab the preset, maybe 35-pound barbell. So I'm just kind of showing you where I started from to eventually, when I turned pro, I was doing about 455 behind the neck. But to me, getting stronger equaled bigger, thicker muscle.
Yes.
That's how I equated in my mind. If I was going to get stronger, I was proving that was data that I was progressing, and I would get bigger, stronger, dense muscle. You mentioned Franco Columbo. Yeah. He was very strong. I competed through the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. So when I competed in the 80s, I looked up to Franco Columbo. I looked up to Bertil Fox. I looked up to Tom Platz.
Yes, Tom Platz as well.
Bodybuilders that were very strong. And of course, Lee Haney, you'd see pictures in magazines. He was a strong fella too.
Was he?
Well, yeah, I saw him doing inclines with, I think, 405, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
But overload was kind of just something that I kind of really grasped onto. Plus, when you're a bodybuilder, you're on stage for your 2-minute routine. The rest of your life is spent in the gym, eating, preparing your food. So I lived and breathed bodybuilding, and I loved being in the gym and pressing the weights. And, you know, when you get to a point where you're starting to lift like the 150s and the 160s, and now you're getting close to 200-pound dumbbells, it's a really cool feeling. So I kind of prided myself on that. You talk about being competitive. I come from a competitive family. I'm obviously very competitive. But bodybuilding is so individual. I was competitive with myself.
Yeah.
So once I was able to incline dumbbell press the 200-pound dumbbells, I was like, okay, well, there's 210s right there. I got to move on to those.
Yeah.
Constant overload. So I just equated the big, thick physiques that I admired and looked up to. They were strong. So I was going to get as strong as I possibly could. So
do you think, hey guys, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, who is following us on all platforms, but especially here on YouTube. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, please if you could do us a big favor, which helps us reach more people, get better, bigger, greater. We've already had some great guests anyway. Everyone's been a treat. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified every week a new podcast that is launched. And I just want to say a big thank you. But again, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and enjoy watching Muscle Talks podcasts. We didn't know better as well. Again, like I said, America's kind of many years ahead of us. But I remember, like you said, going to the gym, and it was not. I guess let's just say a rep is, you get 10 reps in or 8 reps in, whatever you're doing. It just seemed like if you got to 10, you cheated yourself. So it had to be you exhausted yourself to 10. Like you had to break down. Where that's kind of changed our philosophy today, don't you think so? Where we never knew numbers. I don't know, mate. But again, it's different when I'm seeing people going on stage. But it was really about what you got to 10 without a spot, mate. You need to go up in weight, and then you warm up. Yeah. So, do you think it's changed a little bit today, or they're still kind of pushing those numbers?
It seems like it, and I kind of notice when I go to the gym now, it just seems like people that go to the gym don't have the same intensity as they did like in the 80s and 90s. Like the very first gym I went to, the World Gym, there was already powerlifters there. There was already bodybuilders there. There were female bodybuilders. And at the age of 14 and 15, when you see a female bodybuilder, like, oh, she looks like a man.
Yeah,
But
I know.
So you had your role models in the gym that you'd see every day, and you'd look at their physique and admire their physique. You'd see this guy and he had big giant quads and he's squatting 5 plates. You're like, okay, well, that's what I got to do. I got to be able to squat 5 plates. And so you kind of, and you talk in the gym and you ask them advice you always go to the bigger guys, the guys you look up to, and you take the information that they say, but you also look at their physique, because some people can say something, but if they don't look very good, you're like, I'm not sure if I'm going to take his advice. But if they give you good advice and they actually look incredible and you can see what they're doing, now you're kind of getting information not from their speaking and from their body and from what they're doing too. So
yeah, but I had Flex Wheeler on last week, and I was very fortunate. And we started off with this, and maybe we'll kind of go with this now. He said, every new generation of man is a weaker generation, right? So every male is a weaker version. And it's sad to believe. I've got a son, he's 19. I don't want to say he's weak, but what I'm getting at is I've watched him at the gym. So when you grew up, Mike, I don't think your dad showed you how to mow the lawn. You just somehow worked it out. You know why you worked it out? Because men around you mowed the lawns.
Yeah.
And no one showed you how to walk a wheelbarrow, but men around you walked wheelbarrows, carried things. Today, we pay someone to mow our lawns. We pay someone to wash our car. Your dad didn't teach you how to wash a car, but you wanted to wash his car in case he let you sit in the front seat, or he let you drive it before you got a license. He thought he'd let you drive it in the driveway. Today, the kids don't even do anything to look forward to something. And at the gym, and I'll let you dive into this with me, but at the gym, I've watched some kids, and I say to them, I watch them, and when one is struggling, I've seen them laugh. Like they're laughing like it's a joke. And I say, man, that's not a joke. That's where you grow. That's your mate. If you get him another 2, what takes you 1 year is done in 6 months now, because that 2 extra you helped him spot through is the growth. I said, you guys are sitting on your phones and laughing that he's struggling. You're saying to your mate next to you, look at him, he's struggling. But that's not struggle. You're just not you're not being the great spotter you are. But in the gym, we weren't even told how to spot. You just looked around the gym and you saw mates doing it, or people doing it.
Would spot you and you'd feel it and you'd know how to do it.
So what do you think about what I've just said?
Well, first of all, when it comes to phones, I don't even think they should be in the gym. I think when you go to the gym, you should take your phone and put it in the locker. It should be away.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The people with their phones in between their sets
sitting on the bench, answering messages.
In between, just whatever you're doing on your phone. If you're going to work out and you want to make progress, you got to be enveloped in it. You can't be on because now your mind's going in different directions. You got to sit in it and soak in it and just take your rest time and work in your set. But it's a good point you brought up about when you go to a gym and you have everybody that is either bodybuilding or trying to make gains, they're all kind of moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
But it does seem like nowadays, like you mentioned weaker men, it has kind of changed. I mean, it's kind of cool. Flex used the word just men, because I was talking to somebody in the gym today, and we were just talking about some baseball guy and about how, he went and fought in World War II and then came back and played baseball.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so the generations of men have kind of just changed. It's just had 4th of July weekend. We were just watching specials on the History Channel, and they were talking about all the people that traveled west in the wagons and stuff like that. And here I am in my air-conditioned house, like thinking, what am I going to go in the fridge and eat? And these people have their life in a wagon going across a country that they don't even know what's ahead of them. Indians, if they're going to have water or not. And so I think they were just a tougher people. So I think there's a lot of truth to that, just as in man, but also in bodybuilding, that they kind of they don't want to work as much. And I don't know the reason for it, but we can all kind of see it a little bit. And then you can even talk to people, how people say the bodybuilders of today aren't as good as the bodybuilders of the 90s and 2000s. And I do kind of I don't want to say they're better, but you can see the difference, and everybody has their opinion, of what looks better. Someone made the analogy of like the 90s, 2000 bodybuilders look like a classic car. And now these guys are like the supercars. So everybody kind of has their opinion of what they like. But things change,
Well, since we'll segue that, because I actually wrote this, it goes for a little while, but there's a lot of talk about past greats, old timers of the sport, seemingly bagging. Now, I don't know if they're bagging, but maybe critiquing opinions, current day bodybuilders. Not so personally. They're not talking about these guys personally, though this may seem as though they are taking it personally. What is your take on this? You could also use the analogy that things were built better in the past, like cars, the detail and design in the fenders, appliances lasting longer, classic brand and fashions, back in the days, and somehow trying to make a comeback. We all like the new mod cons. We all like that. I like my reverse camera. I like the air conditioning in the car. But it seems to be a tug of war at the moment, and people either are we going in the wrong direction, or are we going to look in the future and look back at 2025 and think, wow, how classic was that? How that was? What's your opinion on this?
Well, I think I know a lot of people have been talking about it, and I've been kind of following along with it and giving my input and stuff. And bodybuilding is it's evolving. These guys are great. They're obviously bigger, have more muscle, higher body weight, so they're evolving, and everybody's kind of evolving the same way. But I think a lot of people agree that the look looks a little softer, a little more watery. I hate to use these words because they're so kind of negative, but the people that are up there, when you have the Mr. Olympia competitors, they're obviously the best in the world, and that's the best we have in the world right now. And kind of like we were talking about, where you follow everybody that does stuff in the gym before. Nowadays, the bodybuilders, they're morphing together. I'm sure they're not all talking on the phone and sharing their input of how they're training, how they're eating, and how they're doing their drug schedule, but they're all transforming and progressing kind of together. And they're all kind of looking in that same look, but they're definitely bigger. It's been a while since when I competed. I used to go to the Olympia and the Arnold every single year, USA and nationals. And it's been, about 10 years since I've been to the Olympia, but I'm going to go this year. So I want to, besides just looking on my phone and looking at pictures of these guys, I want to see them in person. Okay. Because clearly I can see through the pictures that they're bigger. Yeah. But I want to see them in person. I want to see them in regular clothes. I want to see them up close, and then also see them on stage in person with my own eyes, because I'm going to have a little bit of a different opinion when I actually see them in person. Everybody can argue all day long about, like, would Dorian Yates or Kevin Levrone beat, Derek or Samson, and you can't, nobody knows. It's all just kind of speculation. But I guess it's fun to talk about online. But the guys that are up there now, they're just bigger, but like I said, we can argue all day long of how different they are. But I kind of want to see them in person because I think I'm going to be more impressed with their size when I'm standing there right next to them and I see them on stage with my own eyes. So,
Do you think? Do you think that? I don't know if I was saying this to. I was saying it to someone. I don't even know if I said it to Flex. And again, I don't know. I mean, I don't give a fuck if I get hate. It's not about hate. I have not. I'm not talking about knowing competing, but I know people like Joe Wider. Think about Joe Wider, right? I guess the sport needs a Joe Wider again, and I'll tell you why the sport probably needs a Joe Wider again. Because Joe Wider knew that he would contract bodybuilders accordingly. He wasn't a supplement company; he was a marketing company. Yeah. So he'd put everybody under one umbrella. Yeah, the Sean Rays, the Flex Wheelers, whatever it was, Dorian Yates. He let everybody compete against each other, but he knew under that umbrella, I will pay you good money, but you got to turn up the way I want you to turn up because we're going to make money. I'm a businessman. Mm-hmm. And there were certain conditions, contracts were broken, you name it, everything was happening, right? Mm-hmm. But it seems like today, are the sponsors running the show? Are these judges that we don't even know their names running the show? And have we got a person that literally only had one comp, which was Mr. Olympia, but then, Ed Connors would ring Joe Wider and say, hey, I've got this guy at the gym, you've got to come and see him. He goes, oh, fly him out to me, even if he wasn't good enough. But, and the first thing Joe Wider would say is take your shirt off. And even Ed Connors, like I said, there was just a way these guys, regardless whatever rumours around, but regardless, these guys had an eye of talent, of marketing and selling and growing the business. Yeah. And it was literally, he didn't sign up 30 bodybuilders. He signed up maybe 10. I don't know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But today, we seem to have an endless lineup of bodybuilders that, unfortunately, I believe the Federation has decided to make money on the back of all bodybuilders by registration and by entering comps and not actually investing in real bodybuilders, contracting them up, not worrying about them registering, not worry about them paying what competition you're going to go in. This year you got 12 months, we're going to make some shitload of money, but we're going to make some shit, like we're going to sell magazines. And the last thing I was going to say to you is, the reason you bought the magazine and the reason Joe Wider knew who to put on the cover and who to talk about in there, because the communication was clear and people would get results and then would go back and buy his magazines. Yeah. I think that's gone.
Yeah. You can, you brought up a lot of good points. Some people say you can kind of maybe look at the judges. It's kind of what the judges are rewarding, but the judges can only judge the competitors that all show up on stage. You get the 15 or 20 or the Olympia competitors that show up there. You're going to put them in a placing where you think who looks the best and put them in their placing. And bodybuilding is a business.
It's a business. Yeah.
They want to make money.
But are they doing it the right way, though?
Well, I mean, if you look at, again, that kind of comes back to the comparisons of the physiques now to the physiques maybe 15 or 20 years ago. I think they're giving out way too many pro cards. Yeah. Because they're kind of just watering it down too much. Someone brought up a really interesting point about back when we competed, the backdrop of the stage was black and it had really good overhead lighting. And now there's like lights and advertisements galore going back, which again, is not just money. Yeah. So, I mean, the promoters or the people that put on the show, I mean, it's a business. They want to make money.
I get it. I'm with that.
You have to have that balance of, we want to give you the best physiques possible and still make money. So maybe the powers that be are kind of leaning more towards, well, let's just make as much money as we can, and all to whatever with the physiques. But the judges do have some control to kind of to reward people that look sharper and look crisper and have more aesthetics. and to someone that's completely blown out. But they, again, I kind of want to give them a little more credit that, they can only deal with the bodybuilders that come on stage at that moment. So,
do you think as well? I brought this up with Flex as well. I said to Flex, how come? Like when you watch the NFL, when you watch the NBA,
and that's changed a bunch in the past 20 years too.
Yeah, but
all the rules and regulations and
look, they've definitely got a lot of rules and regulations, insurances. But let's look at this though. When you watch the NFL, when you watch the NBA, usually the guys commentating, the guys letting you know who the best is usually the best of the best. They've got the trophies. I sometimes wonder, recently I've wondered, how come they don't have or contract in Olympians to judge, like ex-Olympians, like maybe yourself. I don't know. I'm not trying to say it, but why not have but what I'm saying is why not have a panel of, let's say if it's 10, 5 and 5. Bring that year, 5 Olympians get contracted in, or they become registered as judges. They go do the course, send them to go do the course as well, so they get the judging course done. And why not have them as well as the others, and then they put a scorecard together, then everyone balances it out to find the winner. Does that make sense?
I think that's a great idea. Ever since I competed, as I progressed in the sport and got up to the national level, it always kind of didn't sit well with me when I would compete and diet and do my prep for 12 weeks and get on stage. And then I would look down at the judges and I would look at some of them and be like,
they're not even fit.
Well, they're not even fit. Some of them, I don't want to say all, call any names.
Yeah, no.
But if I just feel like it almost should be a requirement.
Yeah.
To be a judge, you need to have competed in bodybuilding before.
Or have some muscle.
Or just, I think you should have competed before.
Yeah, I think you should have.
To work out, to put on muscle, to diet, to get yourself down to a 4% body level, to manipulate your water and to get on stage, the best shape of your life, and go through the ups and downs and lose one maybe you should have won, and won one that maybe you shouldn't have, to go through that whole psychological thing. And I think that would be great to have judges that needed that pre-qualification to be a judge. I think that's a great idea.
I think so. I think the sport would be more exciting. And usually, when when you watch the NFL and they show who's commentating, and when they put his picture up, let's say they put Tom Brady up, usually they put Tom Brady's accolades, and you go, fuck, I trust Tom. If he's talking about the game, look at his accolades. So when you got the judges there, they should show the accolades the judges have. So you can so you can turn around and go, oh, Jesus Christ, that guy's judging. It's going to be a tough one today.
But when I was coming up, I used to have, shows you how old I am, VHS tapes.
Yeah, don't worry, I've been around. Yeah.
1986, 1987, Mr. Olympia. And when I would put those on, the commentator would usually be Chris Dickerson.
Yeah.
Chris Dickerson's a past Mr. Olympia from whatever it was. Yeah. But Chris Dickerson would do the commentary. And he knows because was a Mr. Olympia, has competed on the stage, so he has the accolades to give his 2 cents, and you believe him because he's a former Mr. Olympia.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I think the judge, that's what I think. Look, I mean, what am I? I'm just a fucking Aussie guy down in Sydney, mate. I mean, what do I know? But I guess I love the sport. Guess I'm looking at it from far, but I'm actually listening to you guys. I am listening to Milosh. I am listening to the Mute, whatever the podcasts are going on, all on IG. I'm listening to everyone's critiquing. Lee Priest critiqued it. You critiqued it. Chris Cormier critiqued it. Lee Haney critiqued it. Dorian Yates critiqued it. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe all these guys should get registered judging, maybe send them to whatever the judging school criteria is, and start inviting some of these people to do some seasons, because I think that could also put their money where their mouth is as well. As well, because they're sitting watching it from far or watching it on a phone, maybe being in person, being a judge, no distractions, a judge sheet in front of them, which maybe they're not used to. So I think it'd be great, and I think you could turn it into more of a spectacular, more of a Super Bowl, like even knowing like who the judges are and giving a history lesson on the judge that's down there, and everyone gets excited. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, well, you grew up, born and raised in South Jersey, so sell us If you were the tourism department, sell us South Jersey. Sell us it.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Well, let's see. You're where I grew up was about 15 minutes away from Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can drive up the turnpike for about an hour and a half. You're in New York City. Mm-hmm. The Jersey Shore is great. I grew up near Atlantic City when my parents grew up in Sea Isle City, Ocean City, Wildwood. The Jersey beaches are great. I've been to beaches on the West Coast, and I still like the Jersey beaches.
Yep.
In Florida, and the Jersey beaches are just beautiful. Maybe I'm a little biased because I'm from New Jersey, but I like the people. Sometimes you can say they're a little loudmouth and they're a little, but one thing, they'll tell you what they think, you know, so, which is kind of good. It might be rude, it might be crass, but at least you know where you stand.
You should come to Australia then.
Yeah, well, I loved Australia too. I went to Melbourne when I competed there, and I just, I really enjoyed Australian. But New Jersey's, I don't know if it's the same, but it used to be number 2 in cranberries. It used to be number 2 in blueberries. New Jersey is the Garden State. So on our license plate, it says Garden State right on there. And I didn't appreciate the fruits and vegetables that came out of New Jersey until I moved away from there. Oh. So we're known for our tomatoes. We're known for our, what else? I'm trying to sell it here.
Yeah, come on. I've got to go get a ticket. You're the tourism department, mate.
Yeah. Cheesesteaks, and the food there is incredible. I mean, you got to understand that when our country was founded, everything came in through New York, you know, so everybody says New York has the best pizza, and I believe it does, but New Jersey is a pretty close second. And then, of course, Philadelphia, you got the cheesesteaks, but the food in New Jersey is incredible. I live out here in Arizona now, and every time I go back to visit family, it's family first, but the food is incredible. You can go to a Wawa and get a hoagie there, or water ice, or just go to a diner and just order anything off the menu, and it's all great. And then you got Gertrude or Phyllis, whoever the cool waitresses are that have been working there for 20 years, and you always have a great conversation. So I love New Jersey.
Hey guys, how important is hydration? How important is water? Alka Power, Australia's #1 alkaline water, trusted for its high pH and ultra hydrating benefits. Whether you're training, recovering, or just staying sharp, Alka Power helps keep your body in balance, hydrated. Find it in major supermarkets, health food stores, and selected petrol stations across Australia. Australia's #1 alkaline water. So important, alkaline water. I can't stress it enough. High in pH, ultra hydrating. Australia's #1 alkaline, comes in various sizes. And if you'd like to learn more, go to alkapower.com.au. Hey guys, as I chow down on macro foods, your true source of macro and micronutrients, I'm chowing down on teriyaki chicken. 7 grams of carbs, 50 grams of protein, and only 334 calories. You know, you got no excuse to not get your meals in, and I'm a true advocate for about 5 meals a day. I always get my meals in, and to make sure you get your meals in, you go to macrofoods.com.au and order now. Use code MTP10 to get 10% off. macrofoods.com.au, use code MTP10 to get 10% off. Go get yours now. I've not been to America, you know, and that is now on my bucket list because, and how is America going from where I stand? And I'm not afraid to say anything because I like Trump. All right, I'm a Trump fan. I'm a Trump fan because he reminds me a little bit of what Aussies are about. But we are, God, should I say this? We are in a bad place. We're really where America was, and we just piggyback on the back. I mean, I'm just hoping what's happening now with Trump that we piggyback on the back of that, but. I don't know if it's just me, and I don't follow your media, but from what I feel, America's sounding or looking really promising, looking alive again. Is this and looking like the America I remember and I forgot, and I thought you guys at one stage were the mob, and that the mob didn't even look after their own people, and I was really sad for you Americans. Like I felt like, wow, if that government ain't going to look after their own people, we're up shit creek around the world. But it looks like Trump's "Make America First" thing. I'm with that. I go, yeah, make America first, then we'll all be okay. So how's it all going?
Well, you know that I'm a born again Christian, so I believe in God.
Yes,
I believe
God
in
first.
Christ.
Yes, yes.
And that's where I aim all my values. Yeah. And our country was founded on Christianity.
Yeah.
And Trump is a funny guy, but he's human. He can make mistakes.
Oh, he's very funny. He should do a stand-up comedy sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Rogan likes him because he's funny. But I believe he's going to do the best to make our country, what it should be. Have secure borders, defend our freedom of speech, defend our Second Amendment. I know that was taken away in Australia, right? You can't have your gun there anymore in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm a big 2A advocate, and because where I grew up in New Jersey, you need permits on top of permits to get a gun. And then I moved from there to Venice Beach, California, and same thing out there. You need permits on top of permits if you want to get it. I don't think you can get a handgun, and maybe you can. But when I moved out to Arizona, I got into guns. So I've been into guns a whole lot here. Yeah. But I think, and I did vote for Trump, and I'm a Republican, but it's always God first. But I think America's going great right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've only gotten into politics since I moved here in about 2005. Yeah. But sometimes, I don't care who the president is. Sometimes I just look at the gas prices, Yeah. And if the gas prices are good, whoever's in office, okay, good job, because that's affecting me. Or I look at the price of food, and then that's a real good indicator for me. But I think America's going great right now. So hopefully some of that will rub off to you, Aussie.
I hope so, man. Especially the new tax laws he's just put in place. I mean, how cool are they?
It's great. It's great.
Bring it to Australia. They're killing us here. They're killing us here. We're worse than you guys. It's really bad.
Like I said, you're 5 or 10 years behind. Maybe you'll kind of just jump on board.
God first. But yes, we need. But while your tax laws and it's how funny was when he was going to the chopper and he goes, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That was gold.
Yep.
He just said what we're all thinking.
Yeah, and I believe, and that's why I vote for him. I believe that he really, believes God as well.
Yeah,
and wants to do the best he can for this country. I truly believe that. But some people think that he's the Antichrist, I guess, sometimes.
No. He's great. He should take up stand-up comedy too, though. He'd be very good. He's very good.
After his presidency.
After his presidency, he could do stand-up comedy at any time. So childhood, you were the youngest of 4. Is it true that the youngest one is always the most resilient, the most tenacious, the most, literally fights their way to just keep up and also get in front of and also having a relationship, obviously, I'm assuming, I'm not sure if you have sisters or brothers or sisters, but were they into bodybuilding as well?
My brother, well, to answer your question, no, but when I got into bodybuilding, my sister got more into working out. My brother got more into working out. My brother, right in front of me, was a state champion track star. So we're all, my sister's a doctor. She was a specialist. She was a neonatologist. My brother is a manager at a produce store, a big shopping center. I think it's called Shop and Bag. So we're all very competitive. When we get home, we usually all play poker together. But we're a very competitive family. But my sister's the oldest. They got 2 brothers, and I'm the youngest. But I'm far removed from my brother in front of me. I'm about 5 years younger than so not only am I the youngest, I'm the youngest by quite a lot.
Yeah, 5 years is a lot, yeah.
I got beat up by all of them and got picked on by all of them. And I remember, I was always wanting to hang out with my brothers, and they'd be like, "Hey, Mike, go inside the house and get that." And then I'd come outside, they'd be gone.
Ah.
So all that kinds of stuff, or come on in the car with us, and they just drive off, and all that kinds of stuff. But so maybe that's when they started work out in the basement. I got to work out a little bit. It made me feel good to get stronger and grow and all those things. So.
That's wonderful. I've not brought this up with anyone, so I thought I'd bring it up with you. And your parents separated when you were 9. I really want to ask, because I didn't grow up in a separated family, but I'm separated, so my kids are living your life, unfortunately, right? And I feel like sometimes I can assume really how shit it is as a kid to have to share, have to have 2 bedrooms and not actually being able to have that one bedroom that you hang the poster up all the time in, or no, like I was familiar for nearly 18 years of the same bedroom. I knew if I wanted to change its color, I knew new posters went up. I kind of, where my trophies would stand. I just wanted to ask is, how do you guys, because everyone talks about kids being, resilient, but fuck that. But how do you guys process it? How do you accommodate the fucking oldies, your parents? And how is it that you're always sometimes, living out of luggage? And it depends if the other parent is sharing responsibility or not, I guess, as well.
Well, I first have to say that my parents separated when I was 9, but when they separated, my mother and father, my mother stopped sleeping in the same bed and she started sleeping upstairs.
Okay.
This was probably maybe sometime when I was around 8 or so.
Yep.
But, as an 8 or 9-year-old kid, you're just kind of like, you don't really,
whatever.
You didn't really ask too many questions. But as time went on, they eventually got a divorce. She eventually moved out. I don't know necessarily in that order. But at the time, like I said, that was about the time that I got into working out and got into bodybuilding, and that gave me something to really focus on. But looking back now as an adult, I think that really did affect me.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I did cling to bodybuilding and working out so much, because, you can call it traumas, or that was probably a big reason why I got kicked out of the school.
Yeah, you got kicked out of school 3 times.
I was upset. Like at the time, I don't remember realizing it. Like why aren't you guys together? Yeah, I think it did kind of shape me, but it was looking back. Yeah, I think it's
yeah, because I'm divorced, and I mean, I don't feel sorry for nobody, but what I'm saying is I always look to think they can do it. They're the best. I'm always, like pushing for answers for people. Let's go get it. Don't really sit in pity parties too much. But I do feel for my kids that or maybe yourself as well, that, like I said, I got to experience a household that went through till 20 years old, the same people sitting at the dinner table, the same people, like the bedroom, the house extension, getting a new bedroom if the house got extended, all the new furniture that came through. Like it's just a bum thing, like it's not really, and people think, and I hate it when I hear like psychologists or people say, the kids are resilient. I feel like saying, fuck that. Why do they have to be resilient? Because of us stuffing it all up for them. We should really cater to them a lot. And I do. And I'm not saying I'm a great dad. What I mean by that is I've never said to my kids, hey, it's my weekend. Never. I've always just said, it's all right. You're busy this weekend. That's cool, man. Leave it. Have a good time. Even though I was sad, I would never say I was sad, because I feel putting the kids, it's not their fault if they want to go see their mates. It's not our fault if they want to stay with their mum a bit longer or their dad a bit longer. It's not our, you know what I mean? And this Christmas splitting up the day, like I said, for me, I don't know. I just think we should to really just turn to them and be more accommodating.
Let me say this, Steve. When it comes to your kids, when you say they want to go somewhere else, and I think you should voice to them. You say, boy, I'd really love to spend the time with you. I'm going to miss you. So at least let them know that, and then let them do their own thing. But I do want to say about my parents, through the separation, through my mom leaving, through the divorce, they never really, they might have argued, but they didn't really fight and throw pots and pans.
Good on them.
So I didn't see that too much. And even once they got separated and divorced, there wasn't any this weekend, your weekend. Even when my mom moved out, my parents were always, and thank God for this, just very pleasant to one another. My father got remarried, my mother got remarried, and then every birthday, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, because my brothers and sisters are older, so the Thanksgiving would probably be at my brother's house or something.
Yep.
When we'd have Thanksgiving, whether they had a new wife or not, they still would come. Hey, how you doing?
Nice.
How you doing, George? How you doing, Dolores? But even before, as the separation and the divorce, they were always very nice and cordial to one another. And I thank them for that, because that takes effort. And I guess I didn't realize it when I was 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. But as an adult now, and I look back, thank God that they were so pleasant and cordial to each other. And as time went on, birthday parties, my mom and my dad would both be there, you know, and, you know, they might bicker a little bit because, you know, but it was just that it just takes real effort to do that. And I thank them for that. So if you can apply a little of that to your life, it'll really be wonderful for your kids.
Well, my daughter's 22, my son's 19. But the thing is, I think you gave, honestly, I asked the right guy. You gave the best advice. You know why? Because if anyone's listening now, probably going through some hardship, maybe separating or divorcing or thinking about it, I hope they listen to what you just said and know that if it's inevitable, at least try to make it somewhat the best separated family you can by being accommodating to each other. Unfortunately, in my case, my other half doesn't really give me that. But I think you're right. I feel like I don't want to tell my kids that, I mean, I tell them I miss them and I tell them I love them and I get excited when they come around and we go out or whatever. But I guess I don't want to show them, I don't want to make them feel guilty. I guess I don't want to say that I'm sad because I don't want them thinking, oh, he's sad. I feel like I want them to just, it's probably my own fault, but I'm just not good at telling people how I feel in case that is the only reason they want to come and see me, because I'm not very good. I'm not a very good feel sorry type person. I love feeling for people, but if I visit you, I'm not doing it because I feel sorry for you. I do it because if you're struggling, I want to come in as a strong force that I care about you and I want to sit with you because you're worth it and we're all worth it. You know what I'm trying to say? So I kind of try to not say anything, but I think you're probably making me believe that I should communicate a little bit more of that.
Well, it sounds like you love your kids.
Yeah, I do, man. I love being a dad. I'm dad first.
It sounds like your kids love you. I just want to make sure that, because I know what you're saying. Sometimes you want to be macho, and I remember times when my dad would, you know, come up behind me and be like, "Oh, I love you, Mike," and I'm like, "Get off me, Dad."
Yeah.
You know? But you do have to express to them, you know, how you feel, because if you don't say it, you know, it's they might know it, but sometimes you just have to say it, you know, like, hey, I'm not going to see you this weekend, you know, just know I love you and I'm going to miss you. But, you know, just a quick little, because if you don't say it, it's not said. And they need to hear certain things from you. Like, I love you and I'm going to miss you and things like that.
I think the miss you, I've got to say a bit more of, but they love. But the thing is, I think you've just given something really good to this podcast. I'm hoping that people that are listening to it, because it seems like there's a lot going on around the world. So like I said, Mike, well done for offering that piece of advice and also the story, because like I said, there's a reason why I do this podcast and it's not just chicken and rice, let me tell you. You were a BMX freestyler. Well, I want to know, what kind of BMX did you have? Because did you see the podcast with Chris Cormier, how he was a BMX freestyler too?
I think we've talked about that before. Me and Chris were really good friends, still are.
Yeah.
We palled around a lot together when I lived in Venice Beach, California. We palled around a lot, did a lot of things together.
Yeah. But yeah.
And I think we talked a little bit about him doing BMX, but obviously we're heavily into competing and bodybuilding at the time. It was more bodybuilding. But I had a PK Ripper, if you know what PK Ripper is.
Yeah, I do. I don't have one, but I've got a Mongoose. I still got BMXs. I got a few.
Okay, my bike got stolen from me, which was awful. But I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, when I was somewhere around 12 or so, I built a half pipe in my yard. Did you see that?
I saw that. Yeah, I've written about it. You got a half pipe, and there you are, airborne.
Yeah, so I think I was about maybe 1.5 feet of air. I mean, I didn't measure it or anything, but I remember at the time I was reading the BMX magazines, and the best in the world, and coincidentally, the kids that did the BMX were also in Venice Beach. So I guess I was destined to go to Venice Beach, California, either way. But those guys were getting maybe 4 foot, 5 foot air, and that was like the best in the world, basically. Yeah. So when I was doing 1.5 feet at 12 years old, I was like, all right, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. But then bodybuilding took over, and I just kind of let go of that. Sometimes I watch the X Games now, and I see the guys now going like 20 feet in the air or doing the flips. That it just blows my mind. So I really enjoyed those times too. When I built a quarter pipe, I built it in my side yard, and my friend actually made a comment. He said kids would come over from all over the county, skateboarders and whatnot, because back then there was no computer or cell phone. Word of mouth. You're like, hey, we hear this kid has a half pipe, let's go over there. So kids would just show up all the time to see this half pipe, but then they'd realize there was grass there and they couldn't do their skateboards. But bikers would come over. But I did build another quarter pipe, so I had a half pipe. Which is pretty cool. So I was into it.
Don't you think how good was BMX? Like, don't you think the BMX was the bike that you just jumped off everything, off fences, off curves, off walls. Anywhere you saw a jump, you go, mate, I'm going to ride around and see if I can jump off the top of that. Like, and even riding up, you'd go to dirt tracks on your, we called them the brick pits. You'd go up some wall that they were doing construction, and you'd go up, and sometimes you wouldn't, you just make it to the top, and you'd put your hands to hold on and let your bike fall down.
Yeah.
Let your bike go.
Yeah.
How durable was a BMX?
When I would do the quarter pipe, like I said, I built it and I had a platform at the top, and sometimes I would just ride up and go up onto the platform. I think one time I went up and I went off the back of the quarter pipe. And when I went off the back of the quarter pipe, since it was in the grass, and that was the first one I built, I think there was also some 2x4s that were kind of wedged underneath of there. So when I fell off the back, I think I landed on a few 2x4s, but I was 12. So
and were durable to get back on and keep going.
Yeah, it was pretty durable.
Yeah, no, BMXing was unreal, man. They were good days. You started lifting weights in the basement with your dad and brothers. That's where you were able to channel in some of your emotions, as you just mentioned. So there you are. You've actually showed a post that it was posted on the 29th of the 6th, and there you are, 13, possibly doing a concentration curl.
Yes, yeah, that was before I joined at the World Gym. I remembered that picture in my head, and my pictures are all over. I got photo albums, and some are just in shoe boxes. Yeah. And when I've been posting stuff on Instagram, I wanted to find that picture, and luckily I found it, and that's why you saw it. But that's where Mike Morris got his start. So you can see a little bit of genetics there, but you can still see how small I am.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Was your dad into bodybuilding?
He was not into bodybuilding. My dad was a claims adjuster, but he was into golfing. And this is in the 60s and the 70s. Yep. And then to improve his golfing, he got into running and jogging because that was very popular in the 70s. Yep. And then he got so much into the jogging and the running that he kind of put the golfing on the back seat. And then he got into doing half marathons. And just like I've done over 50 bodybuilding shows, I think he's done over 50 marathons. Wow. And qualified, because the Boston Marathon you have to qualify for.
Yeah.
A marathon that with a qualifying time. So I think he's qualified for the Boston Marathon, I think 4 times.
Wow. I didn't know the Boston Marathon was that big.
Yeah, it's very big. Yeah, the New York City Marathon, I think New York City Marathon is bigger, but it's they're big.
Wow. It was obviously that tragedy that happened then. Has it recovered since then? Or did it leave a kind of a dent in that marathon?
I don't think so. No, Boston is pretty strong.
They're strong, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting story though, because my wife we both grew up in New Jersey. She grew up in like North Jersey. But then their family went to like Rhode Island, and Rhode Island is like very close to Boston. So we go back to visit my family once a year, usually her family once or twice a year. So we went to go visit her mother in Rhode Island. And this is when the Boston Marathon was going, when it got bombed. And she had a friend that lived in Boston. So we drove from Rhode Island into her friend's house, which was in Boston, and had dinner and saw her kids. And then as we were driving back to her mother's, driving through Boston, we're like, you know what, let's stop in and maybe we'll catch the end of the marathon. So we went into Boston, found a parking spot. And then as we're going to find a Chinese restaurant to get something to eat, we kind of noticed like people were kind of running by. And I'm just thinking like, oh, maybe someone's running to go get their shoes afterwards. So when we ordered the food in the Chinese restaurant, they had a TV screen.
Oh.
And then you saw like news, what was happening. The bomb just went off at the end of the marathon, and we were like right down the street from it. So we're like, okay, we'll get this to go. Yeah. And then we got the food, took it in the car. And then when we drove off, we didn't obviously get to where the finish line was, but we left. And as we were leaving, they had like military black vehicles coming in, and they had the cops with the gear on, the stuff and the rifles all hanging off the truck. And so we kind of left there. But it's just kind of a coincidence that we just happened to be there right at the time when it happened. So
wow, yeah. I mean, it is. It was headlines here in Australia. Well, it's good that they're resilient and they're strong and they're back. While you were at I think it says your first alternative school. What's an alternative school?
That was kind of just the name of it. Well, the first one was called Yale Academy.
Yep.
And the second one was also a derivative of the Yale School. The third one was called the Alternative School. So I got kicked out of school in the ninth grade. I'm sorry, when I was 9.
Yep.
That was the 4th grade.
What did you get kicked out for?
Well, everybody asks that question, why? I don't think there's a specific reason why, but I was very hyperactive. I was very, you might call it ADHD now, but if I wanted to sit at my desk, I would probably want to draw or look out the window or mess with the kid next to me.
Yeah.
And, as any kid, I didn't want to do my work. But if the teacher wouldn't come over and be like, hey, do your schoolwork, if they didn't do that, I'm just going to screw off all day. So eventually I got, taken from that class and put into the class where there's only a few kids, where you get a little more special attention. And then next year, they just kind of shipped me off to a different school. I know that my parents were having a disagreement about that. My mom just wanted the best for me, and so did my dad. But my dad was of the opinion of, don't do that. Just let him stay in school. I think my brother also voiced his opinion, like, don't send him to that other school. You're going to mess up his life.
Yeah.
So it was a tough situation, but it's not like I really did anything wrong, but obviously, I was just hyperactive and maybe difficult to control. And I had gotten into some trouble too. I can't remember any specific things I did. I might have flattened some tires or done some stuff. So I was kind of a little bit of a troublemaker, but it wasn't one particular thing. I will tell you kind of a funny story though. When I went to one of the other schools, I could still play sports for the Haddonfield. That was the school system I went to. So I did like midget football and stuff. And at one time during the practices, some of the other kids were singing that song from the Talking Heads called "Burning Down the House."
Yeah.
And I was like, why are they singing that song? And they're like, well, they think that you burned down someone's house, and that's why you went to that school. And I was like, I didn't burn down a house. So that's just kind of how the rumor mill goes. So
yeah, no, I think school in our day, I don't know what school's like today, but our school back in our day, there was a lot of racism. There was also teachers were not really equipped. They were hacks, some of them. You know what I'm trying to say? And if they had a personal dislike of you, it could send you out of the school. But I'll tell you what was funny, and I'll tell you a funny story. I was in high school, and I didn't do anything either, just like you. I really don't know why I got called to the office. I was maybe a little bit cheeky, maybe a bit of a clown, whatever. I don't know. Late to class, whatever. But I was a daydreamer. That's the only problem. That kids, we're daydreamers. You know what I mean? Like we're not all academic, you know? We might be creative or sporty. One of the three. You're either creative, academic, or sporty. Or all three, who knows? But my mum, who couldn't speak English because we come from Greece, and they called me to the office and they're going to expel me. But I didn't know this yet. And I said to my mum, "Oh, they've called you up to the office." And she goes, "Oh, why?" I said, "I don't know, Mum." But I said, she obviously knows. She's saying, "Oh, look," I said, "they're probably going to tell you I'm late to class. They're probably going to tell you this. They tell you." I thought I'd prepare her because I was nervous. As soon as we sat down, the principal goes, "We're going to expel your son." Like, kick me out of the school. And I was like, my jaw dropped. And I turned to my mum, I went, and it was like the moment my mum understood English. She looked at the principal and she goes, "No." Because parents have a right because they pay the fees. If a parent agrees with the school, the kid gets kicked out. But if the parent, and when I saw that, I turned to my mum, turned to the principal, turned to my mum. And do you know, from that day, that's why I wingman my kids. No one gets the better of me. I will discipline my kids harder than anybody. But if you think you're coming in to create fractures, you don't stand a chance. So there was one time my son, we had a great principal. I'll just tell you this story. He got into a fight. He never fought at school, but this one kid, he was a mate of his. He just bullied him a lot. And one day my son just snapped and just cracked this kid. This is in primary, very young. Anyway, my son, we were separated, divorced, and my ex-wife rings me. She goes, my son rings me and goes, "Dad, I got into a fight. I might be expelled from school." And I said, "Tell me the story." Told me the story. And I said, or suspended. I might get suspended, not expelled. I might get suspended. I said, "Tell me the story." Told me the story.
How old was he?
He was at the time 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 9, right? And he's telling me the story. And I said, "Wow, like what a good story." In my head, I didn't tell him it was a good story. I just said, "What a great story." And I said, "I tell you," his name's Yanni. I said, "I tell you what, Yanni, you were pushed to the point where it was the wrong place at the wrong time for him, the way he pushed you. So we're going to abide by the principle. We're going to go to the school. We're going to sit with him. And if you do get suspended, we're going to get suspended as a family. You got it? We're going in together." And he goes, "Okay, Dad." And we did. I went in and he never got suspended.
Great.
I said,
It's a great story.
if we get suspended, we get suspended as a family. I said, and that's it. And I just remember my mum. What she did. Like I just went, "What?"
That's great.
That's how it's been always. One more story. It's a story time. We do this. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. Not a fighter in the street, just a fighter, martial arts. It's just in his blood. See it in his eyes. He's 19. I won't take him on because it will get bloody because I'm scared of him. Not scared like scared of my son. Just he's a fighter. So I've got to survive. That's you know what I mean? So that's it. If we get in the ring, we're not going to hissy fit around. I've got to protect and try to get him, or else he's going to annihilate me. So I don't fight him. I can't be bothered. But one time, again, he was out playing, because I was sending Flex, because Flex is a martial artist, a lethal weapon, Flex. And my son was at a park with his mate, and 3 guys came and started teasing them. He was older. He was about 16. And they were picking on him, and something happened. I don't know what, these 3 guys. And it just ignited my son. And he took on all 3. Right? He took on all 3. Then he rings me again. He goes, "Dad, I think the police may come and have a visit at Mum's." I go, "What happened?" Again, what did I say before? Great story. I didn't tell him that. I just said, he told me everything. Blah, 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 blah. And this is what I said to my son. "You've been struggling lately, haven't you?" Because I can see you've been struggling with friends, struggling with school, just struggling within yourself. You've been really holding on tight. Because I have. Well, I said, "Well, these motherfuckers came in at the wrong time, didn't they?" So I said, "Don't worry. When the police come, we stand together." And that's what we did. Police came, we stood together. He never got charged for anything.
That's good.
But I find we've got to make sure we look after our people, our close ones, our family. We spend too much time worrying about strangers. We worry about the opinion of somebody else, of us, when we should be listening to each other and being a united force. And I think sometimes that's what I find fractures friendships and relationships is you realize you don't have wingmen. They're not standing with you. And I think today we need to be always with our kids. I think we always need to not give them the benefit of the doubt. We need to hear the story. We need to sit back and go through the whole story. And why did he have a fight with these guys? It wasn't the day. The day was the crack. How many fractures was before it? How many fractures? Yeah. And I think we forget to say to people, look, what are you going through? And get the whole story and talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I like that.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Thank you. But the alternate school, when you went there, just like Chris Cormier, there was a teacher there who fiance, even Chris Cormier's fiance was a bodybuilder. And you said this teacher the fiance was a bodybuilder and he would write you workouts, eventually inviting you to World Gym. Tell us that story.
Yeah. So I was already working out in the basement. My dad would kind of bring home Xerox machines of like how to do the bench press, how to do the dumbbell, such and such. And her name was Dee Flynn. Her fiance's name was Tony Nicolino, and Italian guy, and was a competitor. And she would always have bodybuilding magazines and stuff. And he started writing me workouts that I would do at home. But a lot of the workouts he would write, he might put like a cable row or hyperextension. I was like, I don't have this stuff at home. So I guess I kept asking her questions and asking her to ask her boyfriend, can you modify this? So she must have seen that I showed so much attention and passion for it.
Yeah.
I think she just said, hey, can you pick this kid up and take him to the gym one time? So he did. I think actually she picked me up first and took me to the gym. And then eventually that stopped. And then he ended up taking me to the gym. And then I ended up joining. And then my friends and my mom started taking me. She did coincidentally get fired because of that. Because, you know, teacher, you're not supposed to pick up your 14 or 15 student to the gym, but it was all completely innocent stuff. And I think, as I remember, such a long time ago, I think she only took me like a few times, but then she kind of put me off on her Tony because he was the one that was giving me the workouts and showing me everything. But that's how that all got started. And I just looked him up the other day, and it's really interesting because he was obviously a mentor of mine, and I obviously turned pro. And then when I looked him up, it looked like he became the football and track and field coach for the students in Maple Shade. And then he actually became the football and track and field coach for Haddonfield, which was the Haddonfield. That was the high school that when I left the alternative school, because my father wanted me to graduate from the regular high school. So my diploma wouldn't say, you know, whatever academy. It was actually from a real high school. So I did finally go back to the Haddonfield High School. But anyway, he worked at the school that I graduated from. So it was like a nice little full circle. And I like to think that not only did he inspire me and educate me and teach me to be a bodybuilder, but I think maybe I kind of taught him a little bit, and maybe that made him become a great coach and a great track and field coach. And I should look him up and try to call him and be like, hey, I didn't know, is it just a coincidence you went to Haddonfield, or did you know I went to Haddonfield? And maybe, because they're only a few towns apart. So Jersey's pretty small. So yeah, that's a neat story.
That is a neat story. All right, so you started competing at 14. But firstly, it is funny how a teacher took you to the gym, and it is funny how she got fired. And it's still today, it doesn't happen, won't happen. And they probably will get fired, and it'll probably end up on social media, and it'll be construed in a certain way. But it just goes to show you some people just love investing in someone. Like she invested in you, he invested in you. It's kind of like, when I hear that story, I think, who am I investing in? Who are you investing in? We should all look at investing in this youth, helping this youth today. You know what I'm trying to say?
It was the best thing that could have happened to me, because they must have seen me making progress and me maturing and me getting better at the sport. Because, you know, the alternative school, one of the alternative schools I went to, they had smoke breaks. So we would go to class, and then you go down to the cafeteria, and everybody would smoke up. I didn't smoke, of course. I had my Joe Weider protein shake. I got competition coming up and stuff. But people get a kick out of that, like not only smoking, but smoking in school.
Crazy.
I mean, I could have, and if I wasn't into bodybuilding, I could have just very easily got wrapped up with everybody in that school. So
yeah, no, I hear you. 14 in 1985. You started competing at 14, which kind of is unheard of here in Australia. And and can you tell us about that? Yeah, your first competition. What was it? 1985. I'm just reading in my notes here, but I think you placed. I think it was junior something. It was teen nationals, was it? Is that right?
Yeah, teen nationals was in Houston, Texas, and I got third in the middleweight behind George Betancourt. And George Betancourt was...
I looked him up. I had to look him up, but yes.
He's amazing. He has an amazing classic physique.
Yeah.
And I think he did do the nationals, and I don't think he turned pro, but I know he has a family now and lives in Florida. But there were some other people. I don't know if it was the same year, but I think Branch Warren might have been in the 1990 teen nationals as well. Maybe it was 1991. I think Jay Cutler competed in the teen nationals around that time. Like I said, I'll go back and look through muscle memory and look at the competitor list, and it's always neat to see people that competed right in the same competitions I did. Maybe not the same weight class, but the same competitions. Yeah.
And so at age 14, you started competing. You placed first. Was that also your first comp when you placed first? Was that your first comp?
My first competition.
You wrote you placed first. Is that you came first in
the teenage? Yeah.
Yeah. But was that your first? Did you place first in your first comp? Was it like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that
1985? It was the Mr. Camden County competition.
Well, then you were hooked from that moment. Then.
Yeah, I use that phrase all the time. I've been doing a lot of podcasts lately, and yes, from that first place trophy, I was hooked.
You were sold. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You're in.
My parents were there, even divorced and all, because I get both my brothers and sisters. They're all cheering me on, and I got a first place trophy. Plus, you're on stage in your underwear, and you have an whole auditorium of people applauding for you. And you're 14 years old. You're like,
you're done. You're sold. You're sold. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So, and then you competed up and down the East Coast to the age of 19. I want to ask, who was taking you to all the comps, seeing you were so young, you couldn't take yourself?
Yeah, so I have to say, my father, who passed away about 4 years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. He was a wonderful, wonderful man. He took me to every single one of my bodybuilding shows because my mom left the house somewhere around the age of 14 or so. So he would drive me to every single one. Red Bank, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Long Island, Delaware, Myrtle Beach. We went to some show in Myrtle Beach before. Maybe there was a show in Washington, DC. So from New Jersey, that's like an 8-hour drive. And I remember not only did he drive, and he would drive me to the competition and be there, put on my Pro-Tan. I'd stay in the room with him, did everything. So wonderful, paid my entry fee.
I know.
So he was a wonderful, wonderful man. But I just want to say this one thing. The show in Washington that we went to, that was like an 8-hour drive. We must have been talking about it. So just for fun, maybe like 4 weeks or 6 weeks before the show, he drove me down there just to kind of find out where the auditorium was, where the hotel was. Let's go down and take a drive. And we went down and went around the Beltway and like, oh, here's where it's going to be. So, I mean, just what a wonderful human being to just take time out of a Saturday to go down there to see where it was. So then as a competitor, when we drove down there on the day of the competition, we're like, oh yeah, I remember this place. So I felt like I had the home field advantage a little bit amongst some of the other competitors. But every single one of my bodybuilding competitions, with the exception of the Australian Pro, which was my very last competition.
Yeah.
Australia, of course, he couldn't make it for whatever reason. Obviously, it's a very long flight and expensive and all that. I don't know if he had something going on, but that was my last competition before I got blood work done and decided to hang up the trunks. So it's kind of fitting that he took me to every single one and was at every single competition. Not to mention my pro tan man and there with me.
Wow.
But for the last, so it kind of put a nice bow on the whole competitive career. But I'm so thankful and had a wonderful father that did all that with me.
Yeah, you did, and you got to. I mean, I think there's a lot of. I mean, everyone, our parents out there. There's a lot of untold stories like that. I mean, firstly, for him to drive you 8 hours down to get climatized with the area like a few weeks before. But the thing is, we're also, think about it, he didn't drive down with a car that had cruise control and Apple CarPlay, and like he had to drive the beast down there. It was, I don't know what it was, where he was driving at the time, but at the same time, I mean, all that effort, and the roads were different, and that's amazing.
I would work the map.
Yeah, Rev, to read the map with him. Dad, you're going to be turning soon. You missed it. Oh, I don't know. What are we going to do? Illegal U-turns, In 1991, at the age of 20, you competed in the junior nationals with Kevin Larone and Paul DeMeo.
Yeah.
What was Kevin Larone like in person back then, and did you already have the hallmarks of success? Did you see it coming?
From looking at his physique, we didn't speak much at all. I was in the light heavyweight class, and he was in the heavyweight division.
Okay.
So I saw him at the prejudging, the competitor meeting, backstage pumping up because we're in the same room. And if I remember right, Red Bank, New Jersey, it was a smaller theater, so it was kind of underneath where the stage was, with kind of like low ceilings. But I remember seeing him and Paul, and they looked like pros, basically. Yeah. Like these guys are both going to go somewhere. And most people knew who Paul DeMeo was, but Kevin Levrone at that show was kind of an unknown. And Kevin Levrone really, it was a close competition as I remember. I think they might have even called out the top 5 comparisons, and they might have even pushed them back and brought just Kevin and Paul by themselves and made them go through a bunch of turns. So you knew it was between both of them, and nobody knew who was going to win till the end. But you both knew that they were going to be stars. So
yeah, wow, definitely. Well, well, it's sad with Paul DeMeo though. Unfortunately, he died from a heroin overdose. Apparently, from when I googled it, because obviously I had to look things up, and then he did some jail for shooting his gun off in the air. I mean, I thought you could do anything with guns in America. You can't shoot it off in the air?
Not in Boston, and I live in Phoenix. You can't do that here. You can't discharge a weapon within city limits. I have a gun right here.
Wow. Oh my God, that is crazy.
Can't shoot it.
That Chris, look at that. That is nuts. Do you know, here in Australia, I got a water bottle, mate. Look, you're showing me a gun. I'm showing you a water bottle.
This has a suppressor on it, so I could shoot in the backyard. They wouldn't hear it, but if somebody caught me, I'd go to jail. So.
Wow. Like, look, I just got water bottles, mate. I got a water bottle here. Like, look at you. You're packed and stacked and ready to go. God's sake. I'd be wondering. I'd be sitting in your house. I'd be trembling. Not because, hear me out, not because I want to tremble like I'm weak. I'm trembling because I've never experienced having a coffee or a drink with someone who's got his fucking gun next to him. Here in Australia, mate, we don't even have baseball bats around the place.
Well, you have to come visit here in Arizona. We'll take you out and we'll go shoot in the desert. It'll be a blast.
Mate, I'm gonna hold you to that, because I said to Chris, man, listen. We're mates now. I'm going to come to America and hang out with you guys, and obviously maybe even do some stuff with bodybuilding when I come there. Have some fun with everyone.
That would be great.
Yeah, 100%. In 1992 and 93, you continued competing the junior nationals, placing around, well, you said about top 15, but in 1994, you made the top 5. Then at the national level, you placed, second next to Dexter Jackson in 1998. Tell us about that.
That was the 1998 North American.
Yes.
I was, I believe, a heavyweight in that competition, and he was a light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on that, because maybe I was a light heavyweight and he might have been a middleweight. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he won the overall. We weren't in the same weight class together, but I got second in my weight class and he won the overall. I think Chuck Sinel was the one that beat me. And then I came back obviously in '99 and won the overall and turned pro. So, but yeah, I competed with Dexter a few times, but I think he started as a lightweight, so he was kind of a smaller guy and really put on the
size. Yeah. Well, in 1999, you turned pro at the North America. I just want to know, how was the, explain to us grinding towards that, achieving that pro title when only, you mentioned, 7 pro cards were given out a year. I mean, that's quite an achievement.
Yeah.
What got you there? What do you think got you there? Because today, pro cards are a dime a dozen, but it seems like now there's this belief that you got a pro card that you're already dreaming that you're going to be at Olympia, but some people are not even the 1% of reaching Olympia, but that pro card gives some false beliefs. But your beliefs of Olympia have to come with a pro card, and you have to grind for that. So tell us that story.
Yes. Well, it's back then, there was only so many pro cards given that year. I had to win the overall at the North American. Melvin Anthony won the overall at the USA. And then there were some class winners at the Nationals, Aaron Madron and King Kamali. And they all had very successful careers. I would put myself fourth amongst all of those gentlemen. Yeah, it was very tough. I mean, how did I get there? I mean, I grinded my way right from that 14-year-old slot. So, I mean, I knew that I was kind of going somewhere when I got third at the teen nationals. That was a national competition. All my other competitions, like my dad and I would just drive to that one. We got on a plane. That was the first time I ever got on a plane, was to go to the teen nationals and to get third. And then you get to see some of the national level judges and all that stuff. So from there, I knew, like, wow, I really got something good here. But then going to the 1991 junior nationals with Kevin Verone and Paul DeMeo, I don't think I made the top 15 there. And that was 1991. And then in 1992, I'd go to the junior nationals, did make the top 15. 1993, I went to the junior nationals and did make the top 15. And you know this, when you don't make the top 15, you go out there in the prejudging, you do some quarter turns, and you go backstage, and then they call the top 15. And if you're not in that top 15, you pack up your stuff and you go home.
Yeah.
From 1991, 92, 93, that's 3 long years of me kind of going and getting my ass kind of handed to me.
Yeah.
And I never was like, oh man, I want to quit. This is awful. But it was tough. It was kind of humbling in a way. And then in 1994, I finally made my top 5 finish, the 1994 junior nationals. And, from there I was doing lots of top 5 finishes, and it's really good kind of going through. I always talk about this website called Muscle Memory. MuscleMemory.com.
You do. I've heard it when you were on the podcast talking about it.
You can punch up your name, or you can punch up the USA or the Nationals, and it'll show you every class winner. And for me, it just it's real good data, because I have a memory of stuff. But when I go back and look, I was like, oh wow, some things are a little different. But sometimes when I look at the names, the people that are in front of me and behind me, I was like, wow, look at all these people. That's like just Kevin LeBron, and I can't think of all the names now, but Edgar Fletcher and Art Atwood and Rod Ketchens, and just there's so many other bodybuilders. I was like, oh yeah, wow, like this is like the cream of the crop back then. And some of them who I would beat were I think like national level competitors were kind of like at the tail end of their career. So it's just I always tell people, if you're really into bodybuilding and the bodybuilding from the 90s and 2000s, look up Muscle Memory, because it's just really neat to see all the names.
I love it. Hey guys, Nutrition Warehouse, not your average supplement store. If you're serious about lifting, this is the place. With over 120 stores across Australia and New Zealand, and founded by former Mr. World Grant Mayo, Nutrition Warehouse is built for lifters who mean business. Shop in store or online at nutritionwarehouse.com.au. And while you're there, grab a cheeky 50% off at checkout. Use code MuscleTalks. That's MuscleTalks, either online or in store. I'm trying to train and see what I've missed out on And I think what I've missed out on, or actually, sorry, also I'm training, looking at what I did in the 90s, like what I did in bodybuilding, and I'm trying to bring that back, then listen to all the life hacks out there. And one is I'm back at eating 5 meals a day. So I measuring 5 meals. So I pack meals, 5 meals. And then I went, okay, what am I doing pre-workout? What am I doing post-workout? So have my protein powders ready, have creatines ready, get up in the morning, fill my glass up with amino acids, scull that down. But at the same time, I'm not trying, and like I'm not trying to be like, I need to sit down and rest, or I need to do this. I'm doing a 2 day on, 2 day off at the moment. 2 days on, 1 day off, and I'm loving it. 2 days on, 1 day off. And so I'm trying to think, where did I exhaust myself? Where didn't I utilize myself? And what have I done every decade? Because I hear people say, and maybe you can help me here as well, some people go, oh, I don't do that anymore. I just eat 1 meal a day or eat 2. But I'm just watching how people age. I'm even watching how bodybuilders age. And some of them who were pristine are not aging gracefully, right? And I think to myself, well, why not? And some of them, you know, they're enjoying cigars and they're enjoying wines and they're enjoying whatever. But I've realized gravity and this earth isn't forgiving. And so I said, well, if I want to be the best 56-year-old, and I looked at what I was like in my 20s and 30s, I'll think, well, I was 5 meals a day. They were measured. They were predominantly chicken and rice, or chicken or tuna or red meat, very minimal junk food. I drank a lot when I was a kid. Don't worry about it. I was partying hard and probably, you know, taking a bit of drugs too at time. But we don't do that we're not doing that now at 50. So I think if I just, because I'm more disciplined, and a simple life, I don't go out as much. I just go to the gym and, you know, ride my motorcycles and I guess drive my cars and do work. So I said, you know what? We're going back to bodybuilding. So I go, right, 5 meals a day, right? What's my pre-workout as well? What's my post-workout? And I just think, I think that's the answer still today in bodybuilding, if you want to do your best. What do you think about what I just said?
Is that working well for you, the 5 meals a day? And
let me tell you, it's fucking amazing. Excuse the French, I know, but I'll tell you why. It not only made me lose weight, I lost weight, but I kept muscle. So I went, at one stage, twice in my life, I got to you don't do kilos, but it was about 104 kilos. Right now, I'm sitting at 87.5 kilos, 87.5, right?
So probably like 160 or 170 pounds.
Yeah. I'm 5'10", 5'11", right? So, but I've sometimes had to be even smaller, like 84 kilos, 82 kilos. But I've just seen, by doing what I'm doing, the 5 meals a day, I'm actually holding size. I'm actually putting on size, and the motor's running harder, and I'm losing. I'm not putting on fat. I'm not getting fluffy. I'm getting more muscular, and I've also looked at my cardio and bring in the simple things of cardio. So I don't do treadmill at the gym. I don't do the bike at the gym. I don't do nothing, because back in the day, we all we did was 20 minutes treadmill. Really, remember, it was 20-minute treadmill, 30-minute treadmill. So all I do is I go for a walk every evening and every morning, like I used to in the old days. Yeah, just go for a walk, and I do believe I'm probably making one of my best comebacks, and I'm talking about, I feel my skin is tighter, healthier, and I got a feeling it's because I'm constantly fueled accordingly. Like I said, 100 grams of rice, 200 grams of protein. In the morning, eggs. In the morning, a snack in between the banana and the rice cake. Remember that one? The pre-workout banana rice cake before you go to the gym. Then and finishing the gym. And I know, but look, Everyone knows more than me. Lee Priest knows more than me. Everyone knows more than me. But, you know, if mathematics works, and we're not all mathematicians, I do the anabolic window. When I finish training, mate, in that half an hour, I'm throwing down a protein shake, and even if it's a small meal, I'm doing the anabolic window. And I'm telling you, Mike, I go for walks. I go to the shopping mall. I walk around. Every person that's getting old is having saggy skin, bowed legs. It's not looking good. And I just think the fountain of youth is bodybuilding, and they're not doing it. And everyone's telling me to eat 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day. I'm saying, fuck that. Going 5 meals a day, hitting the gym, 2 days on, 1 day off, splitting the body up, anabolic window, pre-workouts, proteins. Oh, like the only thing I'm not taking, I'm not on any, besides supplement, iron, magnesium, and amino acids. I'm not on TRT. I'm not even on any. I'm not on nothing.
Okay, you're on pure air.
Pure air. And to be honest, I'll be honest with you as well. I know we're going to talk about this with you. I reckon in a few years before I turn 60, I'll do another cycle. I'll do a cycle. But I'm going to get myself naturally to the point where I've exhausted natural again in my 50s, natural, and then I'll hit some nitrous oxide. I'll go for it. I'll do a 6 month, maybe a two cycle window in 1 year. You know, 12 weeks on, 12 weeks off, maybe longer, and then hit it again. And welcome.
Well, you're priming the machine.
Yeah.
Making sure that your body is running optimally.
Yeah.
At its highest level.
Yeah.
And then you're going to add a little bit of TRT. Yeah. I would recommend not doing a cycle. I mean, at your age, our age, I would recommend just doing a low dose of testosterone.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm listening to you.
Just to get you, because, you know, at our age, our natural testosterone is really starting to dip. So I don't think you should do a cycle, because now everything's just going to go up and down. But I would just do 150 milligrams, maybe 200 milligrams a week, and just cruise that for into your 80s.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I do believe, and again, I do believe bodybuilding is the fountain of youth, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I believe it's the fountain of youth, okay? I've cracked the code, and I've got to tell you why. Firstly, jogging ruins your knees. Jogging ruins your knees. Tennis.
And I can say for my father and all his running groups, I mean, they could run marathons, half marathons. They ran every single day. Not one of them had a body that looked good.
No.
I mean, their bodies just didn't look good. Some were thin. Some were not heavy, you know, but they certainly didn't look, I mean, some of them looked fit, but not like weight resistance training is where it's at.
Well,
if you want.
Yeah, but the thing is, think about this. I know people that play soccer and they've got banged up knees now. I know people that did jogging and got banged up knees. I know people that played tennis and they got tennis elbow. They got golf and they got their shoulders gone. But let's talk about bodybuilding. I'll tell you what bodybuilding is. You know what? I'll tell you what bodybuilding is. Bodybuilding is stay in one spot, lie down, sit down, stand up, and lift a weight. There is no, you're not bashing your body. No one understands that and also bodybuilding just makes you that little bit stronger than a 40-year-old, average 40-year-old, the average 50-year-old. So when your body is reproducing new cells, new muscle tissue, new ligaments, new blood supply, no one understands that we're a photocopy. We're a bad VHS recording. We're a bad VHS recording. So if you're going to record me next year, so I'm getting recorded in 57, right? I'm turning 57 and I'm going to get taped again. So I'm going to make sure that tape looks a little bit better. And I just love bodybuilding, that no one has discovered that bodybuilding is the fountain of youth. It doesn't make you jump. It doesn't make you run. It doesn't make you it doesn't make you hit the ground hard. It doesn't do anything. And now, today, if you want to be a top tennis player, you're eating chicken and rice. You want to be a top soccer player, you're eating chicken and rice. We even had the diet.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing what bodybuilding is really today?
Yeah. Well, I think I was talking to my wife about this, like, you get a tennis player, anybody that's in any other sport, and they want to get stronger, who are you going to hire? Strength and conditioning coach? Probably a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So you're going to do all the same things a bodybuilder. Yeah, bodybuilding is such a the sport of bodybuilding is, the big giant guys on stage, but it's way more than that.
It's
a
more
lifestyle
than that, man.
eating well. It's a lifestyle of getting your sleep. It's a lifestyle of not over consuming, drugs, smoking, tobacco, alcohol, and working out and understanding your body and knowing your body and progressive overload. And the big part of bodybuilding is taxing your muscle enough in the gym with an overload of weight and intensity, and then knowing enough and knowing your body enough to give yourself enough time to rest and recover and grow a little bit before you hit that body part again. And it's just a incredible, like you just said, the fountain of youth if you do it correctly.
And also, you can go on stage and you can call it a season, but if, like Milosh said, bodybuilder for life. We're not talking about seasons. We're talking about decades. Like, look at you. Like, I want to see 20-year-olds be you at 54. You started at 14. So let's go 14 to 24. That's 1 decade. 24 to 34. That's another decade. 34 to 44. That's another decade. 44. You've done 4 decades. Now, anybody that tells you they've been training for 2 years, mate, listen, bro, let me see you at 54, because, and to be doing what you're doing and what I'm doing at 54, there's plenty of temptations out there, bro. There's plenty of stuff we could be doing, but we just feel like bodybuilding is like brushing our teeth, having a shower. We don't even think about it. We're going to have a hard day, but we're still somehow going to rock up at that gym and put something together. Even if it's not the hardest workout, we need to touch it. We need to feel it. Consistency, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so I know people talk about seasons, but I say let me see you in decades, because you could be putting all this stuff in you right now and looking the way you are, but are you playing the long game? And bodybuilding, that's the wonderful thing about it. It's the best long game you can ever play, because sometimes, you know yourself, you're taking a few years away from it and you go, uh-oh, we're going to get back in there. You know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
Totally, yeah. So how do you feel, since we mentioned something about Pro Card 7, how do you feel about this Pro Card thing going on at the moment? I don't understand a lot about it, but obviously a lot of you guys do. But how do you think they could police it or do a better job at it? What's going to be the answer? But what is it you don't like, or what is it no one's liking at the moment?
Well, because they're just giving out too many Pro Cards. I mean, I don't know how to reverse it now other than to stop giving out Pro Cards, but it's kind of hard to keep up with. But I think they're giving out Pro Cards to not only first place, but second place, and I think even third place in some competitions. Not to mention all the different divisions there are, but that's a whole another story. But I don't even know how many Pro Cards they're giving out per year. 7 when I turned pro in 99. Now I heard it's like,
I think it's 1,200.
1,200? Okay. I saw some Instagram before where some girl was talking about a competition, and she was, just bubbly and talking about like, oh, and they're going to be giving out 87 Pro Cards. And I'm like, in one competition? Just one competition. Oh,
God.
So, I mean, like I said, back in the day when I turned pro, like you knew who those pros were because there was only a few each year. So you would keep your eye on those pros, and I think it was better for the sport. But bodybuilding is a business, and I can see every Pro Card they give out. Even when I did get my Pro Card, you still have to pay an annual fee for that. Yeah. I don't know what the annual fee is right now, but I think when I got my Pro Card, I still had to pay $250 a year or whatever it was. And I remember telling my friends at the gym, my training partners and stuff, like, hey, I turned pro, but they're like, wait, you have to pay an annual fee for your Pro Card? And they're like, that's bullcrap. So,
well, let's do a calculation here, mate. Let me see. 7 Pro Cards a year times 250 equals, all right, they made $1,750 a year. Now, let's look at it today.
But they still got to enter the shows and do the entry fees and all that.
But that's just to register to stay pro, right? So let's do 1,200. And what's a Pro Card now? What, 400 a year, maybe, you reckon?
I don't, maybe 400, 500. I don't know.
Oh, let's. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be a little conservative. All right, you were paying 250. I'm going to say 250. All right, let's do this. Times 2. Oops, 1 sec. 250 equals. Well, what did I say they were getting a year before? 1,730 or 1,730. Correct?
Yeah. Something like that.
Do you want to have a guess what they're getting a year now? Go on, throw me a figure. We'll play a game show.
1,200 times 250.
Yeah, just come on.
Oh, man, I need to move my zero.
All right, here we go.
25,000 or so, 30,000.
$300,000 a year.
300. I needed to move my decibel over a little bit.
Wait.
See, it's that darn alternative school.
The bloody smokers.
Taught me how to smoke cigarettes.
Bloody smokers. But wait a minute. What a profit. What a return on investment. KPIs, key performance indicator.
That's a pretty good annual salary.
$300,000 a year.
And that's even if they don't compete. And you know they're going to want to get that pro card.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I still have mine laminated downstairs. I'm not
God's
going to.
sake, let's get part of it. We're going to get part of the movement, mate. We're not investing in the right areas.
I know.
Registrations.
Take your advice and try to become one of the judges.
Yeah, I think so. I think you should.
Like you sit in the front row at all the pro shows.
Mate, you probably get paid to be there too. Even if you don't get paid, they're going to pay your flights and accommodation anyway. So
yeah, I got to send them a letter.
You got to send them a letter. Why not?
Back into bodybuilding.
I said, you took. I'm just having a read here. All right. So when you got your pro card, you actually took a year off, probably to condition to grow a little bit more, and you mentioned that you went to the 2001 Toronto Pro. But you mentioned flight delays, storming the cockpit. You said it's going to be a great story, so I'm ready for the story.
Okay, so the Toronto Pro, I took my flight from Philadelphia to Toronto. It should have been just a simple 2-hour flight. But before we even got on the plane, you could see on the screen they were having like weather issues and things like that. So we finally got on the plane. We were out on the tarmac. And as I remember, we were stuck on the tarmac in June for like an hour and a half, and all the passengers are getting upset, and we were all just and sweating because it's hot on the plane. And it's hard to remember, but I think from being in the terminal and looking at the weather, and maybe they said they were going to divert us or something like that. So I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I weigh about 225 pounds because I'm going out to the pro show. I took my shirt, I had my shirt off. So I'm sitting there like a giant, massive Hulk. And for some reason, I got it in my head that, you know what, I'm just going to go and tell the captain of the plane, take us back to the airport. I need to go and get on a different flight. So I concocted this story in my head to say that I'm a diabetic. My blood sugar's low. I need to go back to the gate.
Yeah, you weren't a Christian. You weren't a Christian then, that's for sure.
No. This is just before 9/11.
Oh, wow.
So this is in June of 2001.
Ooh.
So a couple months before 9/11. So I have my shirt off. I'm walking down the center of the aisle. The stewardess comes up to me and goes, "Sir, you have to take your seat." Stephen, I just picked her up and moved her out of the way and walking towards the cockpit. So I go to the cockpit. I open the door. Captain's right there. I say, "Hey, you need to take me back to the gate. I'm having a low blood sugar." And this captain was just cool as a cucumber, looked at me and was just like, "Don't worry about it, sir. Our stewardesses are trained in that. They'll take care of you." I must have gave some other kind of retort and just wanted to have them turn the plane around, and he just wasn't having it. Just turn around and get back in your seat. We'll take care of you. So I begrudgingly just kind of went back and sat in my seat.
That's funny.
And we finally took off, and we didn't even make it to Toronto. We had to they diverted us to another airport. And then we were there for a while, and all through this ordeal, I ran out of food. I think I might have had to get a meal at the airport. I don't know if it was just a grilled chicken breast or whatever it was.
Yep.
Because it was only supposed to be a 2-hour flight. So I think I brought one meal with me, knowing that my baggage had my hot plate, all my chicken, stuff I was going to cook in the room. So anyway, long story short, from going to another thing, had to take a puddle jumper, and then the puddle jumper took us to some place that still wasn't the Toronto airport. It was like an hour away, and they gave us a voucher for a cab to go to take the cab to the Toronto Pro competitor meeting. When I finally got there, I think I was supposed to get there probably around 5 o'clock. And when I did get there, it was probably around 7 o'clock. And I got to the hotel where the competitor meeting was. And I was walking in, Jim Mannion was walking out, And he said to me, excuse my language, he was like, where the fuck were you? And just walked off. And I'm like, oh, crap. I didn't even have a chance to say, it's not my fault. Like, it was the plane and all this stuff. So I went to the competitor meeting when there was just everybody's leaving. I missed I don't know if they weighed us in, but, we obviously got our numbers and all that. They had to give me my number. I got the last number. So now when they call us out on stage, I'm on the very end. But I missed my meals. They lost my luggage. I never even got my food and everything. So, and of course, the adrenaline dump and just the stress and the anxiety of going, because this was hours. My flight was supposed to be at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get there. So this is like a whole day's worth of like, my diet's ruined, my, prep is ruined, my water is all manipulated. And I really feel like it kind of hampered my pro debut showing. I think I would have been a lot sharper if I just would have had a plan that went right to Toronto and I could have just done everything the way I normally do. So,
well, you placed 11th. You placed 11th when you should have come 5th, and that you say you never get a second chance when you make your first impression, and you feel the poor pro debut championship that the rest of your career planted something for the rest of your career. And
Yeah. Well, just to kind of put that in perspective, Tommy Torgelson, I don't know if he was from Poland or Czechoslovakia, but anyway, he placed 4th in that competition. Maybe Art Atwood was kind of up there in 3rd somewhere, but he placed 4th. And I think Bob Ciccarello got 5th. But I felt that if I was at my peak condition, I should have been in that 4th spot to push Tommy and Bob Ciccarello back. And then throughout my pro career, whenever I would compete with Tommy, I would beat him. So that kind of proves like where my standing was with Tommy. I did compete with Bob a few times, but Bob always beat me, but I still think my physique was better, but we were kind of had different. So he was a little taller and had a little better symmetry. I was definitely blockier and thicker. But that's just kind of my 2 cents. So
yeah, well, it makes sense. Did it teach you a valuable lesson about maybe turning up days before than turning up on the day? I guess maybe, I don't know.
Well, I guess I knew that it was a 2-hour flight, and I thought,
yeah, I get it. I get you, man. I get you.
And I'll still have 6 hours or to make the.
I hear you.
Funny, interesting. My dad, who also went to that show, he took a flight that left at like noon or maybe even 3.
And he got there before you.
He got there before I did.
Yeah, no. It was the powers that be got in the way. There was a reason behind it. Who knows? But yeah, it makes sense. I guess first impressions are important, but I guess you didn't get a chance, even with what did you say?
Well, besides first impressions, like I said, I ran out of food and all the anxiety of all that. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it affected my physique and the way it looked on stage. And this is the first
100%, 100%.
This is the first time these pro judges get to see Mike Morris, the new one of 7 pros, to see how he's going to look at his pro debut. And when they got that snapshot of that day, that was like, okay, well, that's where Mike Morris, that's how he looks. And then it seemed like the rest of my career was kind of playing catch up.
I guess sometimes we don't let things go, and those things don't let us go. You've done over 50 bodybuilding competitions. You competed with a lot of the top pros, including Marcus Rule, Kevin Levrone, Jay Cutler, Dexter Jackson, Chris Cormier, Lee Priest, Dirham Charles, and Milos Sachev. I mean, all amazing, but I mean, I just need to ask, I guess, what was Marcus Rule like in person? Because I don't know, when I see those photos and I see him go on stage, I don't know. He looked like quite an intimidating, not fellow in relation to intimidated personality, but that body intimidated me watching everyone on stage. It was hard to get your eyes off him.
Yeah, he was giant. He was very, very big. And he's also very intimidating and also very quiet, which can be intimidating in itself.
It can be,
if he looked at you, he was not going to crack a smile or do anything. I don't think I've ever said 2 words to him. We competed at the United Champions, the Toronto Pro, and maybe a few others, but large, very large man.
Out of all the 50, which is the most memorable, and which one is the one you'd like to forget? I'm assuming their first pro debut, possibly. Let's go with that first. Which one out of the 50 you go, God, I remember that, and oh God, that was a tough one. Which one was, yeah.
The Toronto, the pro debut, that was really a tough one. It really was, you know. When I turned pro at the 1999 North American, that had to be the highlight of my career.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, my entire family made it there, which was great because my whole family and brothers and sisters didn't make it to all my shows, just select shows, but that was one of them. So that was a really special experience. And we did go to eat in, it was held in Detroit, and in Detroit, they have a big Greek town area.
Ah, yeah.
Got the cheese, the opa, where they live.
Opa, yeah, break plates, yeah.
So that was great. And was there one more question? Like
no. Well, the low you told me was your first pro show, Toronto, right? Your high was, you said, firstly, one was getting your pro card, and
the Night Champions was always fun to compete in. I think I posed to Frank Sinatra, New York, for one of my posing routines. And that one, I think 5 of my nieces were there. And at the time, they might have ranged from like 9 to 15 or 16 years old. So it was really fun posing to them, hearing them scream in the audience.
Well, it sounds like it was a family affair, because even when you got your pro card, it seems like your family was there when you first competed at 14. So there you go. Like, isn't it funny?
Well, that was like a couple blocks away from my house. So of course they were going to.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And out of all these bodybuilders, I'm believing you either all get on or you all don't get on. Who was someone that you enjoyed, and also who was a bodybuilder that you looked at in awe of, regardless, whatever what it was? So was there a bodybuilder you kind of still were close friends or close, and then there was a bodybuilder that you really thought, oh, he's the best bodybuilder I've ever seen?
Well, when you're competing, and I'm a very competitive person, and when you get to meet a lot of these pros, like, of course I'm a fan and I'm in awe of all of them, but when I'm there to compete, I'm there to compete with these guys. So you're not really having like full on conversations with them. But when I did go to the Australian Pro, when Lee Priest was there, Lee Priest's attitude and demeanor with everybody, just breaking jokes and kind of lightening the mood. Because I'm a kind of a funny guy at heart, and like to crack jokes and things like that, but not at a competition. So Lee Priest was really fun to compete with and a great guy. Flex Wheeler has, I think, one of the most incredible physiques of all time, and is also incredibly humble. And what he's been through, car accident and kidney issues and losing his leg, it shows how much of a champion and how much of a strong person he is. So I really look up to Flex Wheeler a lot.
Nice. Yeah, he's a great guy. 4.5 hour podcast that was, mate. Like I said, we spoke forever. Your best pro place was 5th, and that was in 2005, the Australian Pro, behind Lee Priest and Chris Cormier. Well, I guess you explained the fun you had enjoying Sydney, and obviously Lee Priest and his demeanor, and he's like that. He does like to lighten the mood. I think he lightens the mood for himself as well. I think he's like a little bit nervous himself at times, but he does a good job at lighting the mood for everyone. But you said after that show you got blood work done, revealing that you had some severe kidney damage that might require dialysis in the next year or so. Did you, and you mentioned in a podcast, and I'm going to ask it here, I think the previous podcast you did do frequent blood work. I asked, did you do frequent blood work? And did bodybuilders back then do frequent blood work? And did you guys pay attention to it enough?
I didn't do frequent blood work, but I did get my blood work done before. And I did see things were getting elevated, but it didn't get to the point where it warranted me thinking I needed to do anything about it. Now, I've said this before. I've gone to doctors, and the first thing they do is take your blood pressure. And for years, my blood pressure was high, and I never really got a doctor that said, hey, we should control your blood pressure. Let me give you some something to control your blood pressure. It's not going to affect your training. You can still compete. It'll probably make you look better since you're actually controlling your blood pressure. It's not going to make you hold water or anything like that. I never had a doctor say that to me. It was always, very like, you need to stop everything you're doing right now.
Oh,
And once I
God.
heard that, I was like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm just about to turn pro. What are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So, so I always wish I kind of had a doctor who would just say, hey, let's just control your blood pressure. You do what you got to do. Let me prescribe you some blood pressure medication. It won't be a beta blocker. It's not going to make you sleepier or affect your, pulse or anything like that. So, but I didn't get that. So,
Well, you mentioned on the recent podcast that you've noticed that many bodybuilders don't get their blood work done. Many resist and actually don't want to find out what's going on in case they need to do something about it. Also, they don't go and get blood pressure done. And you mentioned sometimes bodybuilders are so focused on the prize that they take all sorts of risks.
Yeah. I'm so surprised how many bodybuilders I've spoke to in person saying like, do you get your blood work done or do you get checked? They're like, no, I don't do that. And I'm like, why not? They're like, I don't want to find out. And that just kind of blows my mind a little bit. Like, you should know, you're on death's doorstep, but they don't even want to look in the direction of where they could be because they already have it set in their head. I guess they have a goal and they're like, I'm not going to stop. But thank God I kind of always had, in me, I was like, if something presents itself to me in a way that like, this is going to kill me, I would listen to it. And that's when I got my blood work done when I came back from the Australia Pro, because it was high, it was off the charts. And I did have a doctor that just said, hey, this is where it is. We need to get you ready for dialysis in like the next year or so.
Wow. That probably
like,
scared you.
So and I was like, okay. And I asked him, like, what do we have to do? How do I get better? What do you have to prescribe me? Tell me what I need to do. And he's like, well, there's nothing really we can do. And I was like, okay, now we're back to square one with like, you're not giving me good information. And then I had to go do all my own research and stuff. But, because he didn't even say to me, maybe stop all the steroids you're taking. Like, what? He should have asked me, tell me all the drugs you're taking.
Yeah.
And then he could have said, well, you need to stop that. You need to stop that. You need to stop that. But maybe he knew like kind of where my mindset was. And maybe he knew that was a dead end or thought that might be a dead end street. But I would say God kind of spoke to me there and just made it very clear to me, because obviously I was getting my blood pressure done years prior and kind of ignoring it, even though the doctors said some things that, maybe if a doctor did say, hey, just take this blood pressure and control it, you'll be healthier. Maybe I still would have said, nah, I don't know. And thank God that at the right time, I got the blood work done and the doctor told me about the dialysis and that I listened and did something about it.
Well, apparently you, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a second, but you came to God in some ways at that time, So, and I'm going to go to that after this comment, but I heard Bob Cigaregolo talking on a podcast recently, and he said many of the past bodybuilders, though they're ridiculing bodybuilders today, claiming recklessness with their PEDs, but some of them are just hypocrites. And he kind of knows they were just as reckless, if not taking PEDs, that actually the amounts they were taking back then was kind of crazy. Do you think some of us have got a hypocritical mind? Do you think some of us are like forgetting the ridiculous things that were taken to be number one in the world? Or, I mean, some people are gifted. I mean, Lee Priest is very open on what he does, but then again, if you see Lee Priest, which I saw him in person a few weeks ago, he's still massive. He's still massive, man. He's big. He's just big. He was sitting with other bodybuilders at a NABBA show, and he had the biggest traps, biggest neck, his biggest arms. You know what I'm trying to say? He just sits there. He's not even like, he's just big.
Well, I saw the video of Bob, the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
And maybe some bodybuilders are. Like, I know what I took, and I know what I did. And when I saw that video of Bob, I agreed with him. I do, but, I'm not making excuses for myself because I know what I took and I'm open with what I said. I know I took a boatload of stuff, but I know where Bob is coming from because he's talked about other bodybuilders saying like, oh, I only took 400 milligrams, 600 milligrams of this. And whoever wants to say that, like, okay, I guess I believe you. I was like, you look awfully massive. I don't know. I know what I took is Mike Morris, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess God bless you if you can like get that big off 800 milligrams a test.
Yeah.
That's not what I did. I
Yeah.
know what I did.
Yeah.
So, hypocrites, liars. I don't know who's to say. You know, when I can look at somebody in the gym, and I can be like, oh, he's on gear.
Yeah.
You know, and if I talk to them and I ask them and they say no, I'm like, okay, whatever, liar. You know, but there's part of my head that says maybe they're the next Kevin Levrone. Maybe they are natural. I don't know. Could be. You know, so I just like to take the data that they tell me, but a lot of times I look at them and I'm like, I know what it's like when you're on gear, and chances are statistically you're probably taking something. You're probably not the next Kevin Levrone, you know, but I kind of leave that area in my head open to maybe if they say they're natural. So take that with a grain of salt, I guess, you know. I'm not sure if I believe them, but that's what they say. So,
well, I think if you haven't come to God, you've got every excuse to lie. But when you're judged by your Father, at the end of the day, you don't really care that you're lying to somebody else, but you're lying to God. So at the end of the day, if you're not willing to, and I think, isn't it just whether we've made mistakes and fixed those mistakes, isn't it better to be an open book about exactly not just so much of what you took, but to say the words, I was fucking reckless. No one seems to ever say that. Nobody seems to say they're reckless. No one seems to say they were off the charts. No one said that they were aggressive or said, I wanted this so bad I'll do anything. But we all seem to be kumbaya. Everyone's kumbaya. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone's like...
Well, I say before, like bodybuilding, it's an extreme sport.
It is.
And when you're in an extreme sport, you're going to do extreme things. You're going to do extreme eating. You're going to do extreme training. You're going to do extreme cardio. And you're going to do extreme drugs. And that their drugs is a whole arsenal of things. Yeah. I just pulled up a journal I have of stuff I did of my training and my gear that I took of like 2002, 2003. And one of the things I remembered that I looked because I had it written down was Epogen. You know what Epogen is?
No.
Epogen is an injectable drug you can take. It increases your red blood cells. Yeah. And I'm looking at all the Epogen I took. Yeah. I'm looking at it and get a blood clot and kill myself because I was taking cc's after cc's of Epogen. So
I guess, yeah bodybuilders have died. I mean, and we seem to ignore that as well. I mean, you know, it's crazy, but I just need to know what is it about, and I've heard this on your podcast from the host that was talking, and I heard it from Chris Cormier. What is it about Mexico? I keep hearing people going to Mexico, coming back from Mexico. What was about Mexico and the gear?
Well, you can just get it over the counter there.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, just saying, everyone kept saying, I just had to go over the border to Mexico.
Off the shelf, and yeah, that's, and there's a lot of the, I don't want to say counterfeit stuff, but a lot of the underground stuff back in the day when we used to get gear came from Mexico. They might label it as like veterinarian stuff, but all the bodybuilders were going down there to get it. I got a funny story about Mexico one time. When I was in Venice Beach, I had a rental car, and I just went down to Tijuana just to kind of experience Mexico, to go into a pharmacy, to just experience all the stuff on the walls, to see what they had. But I was huge at the time, probably 260 pounds. So I had my rental car. I went down through the border. I went to the pharmacy, saw all the stuff. I was like, oh, I've seen that before. Oh, look, they got that. But I wasn't stupid enough to bring anything back across. So I come back across the border and talk to the agent, and they're like, what's your purpose here? I was like, oh, I just came for a visit. And they're like, how long have you been here? And I was like, 3 hours or so. And they're like, secondary inspection. So I went to secondary inspection. They tore my car apart. I was there for a while. They made me get out of my car, and there's benches right there, but they made me sit like in the bench way over here because I guess they didn't want me near the car for some reason. And the only time I got nervous was, since it was a rental car, I knew there was nothing in the trunk. It was just completely empty.
In case someone else left it. Yeah.
Rental car. From the airport, I had my luggage, and I went to the Marina Pacific Hotel, and I dropped off my luggage. And so anyway, when the agent was going through the trunk, I see him from over here, and then he pulls a bag out of the trunk. And I was like, where'd that bag come from? There's no bag in there. Anyway, it turned out to be the toolkit that came with the spare tire that was under there. So anyway, he came over after looking through the car and doing the x-ray and all that stuff. And he was kind of a jerk. He's like, so what'd you do? Go down there, shoot up all your gear, and now you're coming back across? And I was like, no, I'm just coming back across. So anyway, he let me go, and that's the end of that story.
Wow. So everyone was taking risks as well, coming back with steroids.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I knew full well, like, don't come back because, I mean, looking the way I look, and like, I wasn't going to risk it. You know? I got all
Wow,
my
that's
sponsors in the United
hilarious.
States.
I did not know. I thought you just drove over, came back in the back of your car full of gear, but I guess you're going to get checked. Oh, that is hilarious.
Unless
How much risk?
maybe you have your friend go, and then they have their wife there, and they have their baby too.
Oh,
Maybe
my
they stay
God.
for a weekend, so it seems a little more normal instead of just being this 250-pound guy. And I was like, I've only been here for an hour. Don't check my trunk.
That is so funny, man. That's like, my God, that's like that reminds me of the movie Midnight Express.
I didn't see that movie.
That movie, you got to watch it, man.
I think I do.
That's a is that a 90s or an 80s movie? It's a 90s or 80s or 90s movie, Midnight Express.
Yeah.
You got to watch it, man. It's really bad. It's bad. It's a bad movie. You don't want to smuggle drugs, let me tell you. What that person went through, oh, it was bad, bad. There's a scene where he bites the guy's tongue out of his mouth. It's really bad. Yeah, it's very bad. The moment you realised your kidneys were bad, obviously, so you decided to retire from bodybuilding and put your efforts into healing your kidneys, or you could. So you moved to Venice Beach in Phoenix, and you stopped all the drugs that you were taking. Can I just ask, why did you go to Phoenix? Oh, there you are, Phoenix. Why Phoenix, Arizona, I guess?
Well, when I got the readings and I decided to retire from bodybuilding, I just realized, like, I don't need to keep going to Gold's every day. I don't need to keep paying my rent in this apartment anymore. And it just so happened that it was 2005, and the real estate market in the country was really going up at the moment. And in Arizona especially, I had a friend that said, just go and buy any house that you can, and whatever you buy it for, next month it's going to be $10,000 more. Next month it's going to be $10,000 more. And so that what brought me to Arizona to buy my first house. And then in 2008 or so, we had the economy crash and everything kind of came down. But that's basically the story that brought me up to Arizona.
Okay. And you began wellness journey to try to heal yourself. What was the wellness journey like? What was it about? What did it entail?
Well, kind of just what I told you. I was like thinking to myself, what are all the things I'm doing that are damaging my kidneys? All the PEDs, painkillers I was taking at the time.
Yep.
All drugs.
All drugs.
And so I stopped everything, all the PEDs, stopped all the intense training. But the painkillers were tough. They kind of hung on for a few years. Like I would stop them, I would white knuckle it. But then after a certain period of time, they'd kind of just creep back in. So that kind of was like a revolving door for a while that just keep coming back. They do have a drug that's called Suboxone. Suboxone is something you take that helps you come off of opiates. And that did help me come off as like a bridge. But then I got addicted to the Suboxone. And then I started being on Suboxone for years. And then finally had to kick that. But besides getting all the drugs completely out of my system, I also had to do everything to heal my kidneys. So I did fasting, obviously a ton of water every single day. There's lots of herbal supplements that take, like dandelion root, milk thistle, and the list goes on and on with that. And then I kind of had to stop intense weight training, because when you do intense weight training, you're dumping a lot of lactic acid into your body, and your lactic acid also kind of has to get filtered by your kidneys. You know, I mean, I still train, but I can't go in there and like really do force reps. So I'm keeping a conscious mind of making sure I'm not getting that lactic acid dump. And then over the years, from dropping the weight and controlling my blood pressure, I still take blood pressure medication to this day. All the readings have come down to a stable level. They're still kind of in the red. Like if I go get blood work, it'll come up with an H as it gets high. But it's stable. So praise God for that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Well, there you are. You've accepted God. And 6 months later, after that, you got a call from one of the promoters telling you that Mr. Olympia is inviting you, the invitation only, as a wild card to compete in a new division that was invite only, and to be held on a Friday night before the Mr. Olympia, where the overall winner gets a chance to obviously compete at the actual Mr. Olympia the next day. Now you were torn between the decision of staying clean versus your goal of competing at Mr. Olympia stage. And I've written here, what did you decide? But look, we all know that you decided to do both. You resolved to compete, but you were going to compete 100% natural. What did you do for it, and what was your protocol? And how'd you go?
I did my training. I didn't train as intense. I still did cardio. But I was very torn. There was that bodybuilder part of me that was like, okay, well, maybe I can take a little bit of Primabone. Primabone's not too toxic. Maybe I can take a little Anavar Winstrol, maybe I can take a little bit of growth, maybe a little bit of clenbuterol here and there. So maybe I can do this, but then I was like, you know what, stick to your decision, heal yourself. And everything happens for a reason. And thank God for Tom Prince, because, I was friends with him, and we were in Gold's Gym at the same time, and he was on dialysis, and I saw what he went through, and I was like, I do not want to go down that road. So I decided I'm not going to miss this chance to be on the Olympia stage, but to do it natural. I knew, like, okay, well, I'm going to look what I'm going to look like naturally. So I didn't take anything. I didn't take anything at all. No growth, no diuretics, I branched chain tomatoes, and just my regular diet that I would normally do for a competition. But there are pictures out there, and it's a stark condition from me at the 2005 Australian Pro to me at the wildcard Olympia stage. That's Mike Morris geared to the gills, and here's Mike Morris 100% natural. So that's the honest to goodness change of what happens to Mike Morris's body when he took all the drugs out of it, still continued to train and did the best I could, did my cardio, did the step mill, did the same diet. I probably didn't restrict my water for the past few days like I do normally for a show. Probably did a modified version of that. But what you see in the pictures is what you get. So the truth.
Well, at least you left no stone unturned. You could tell yourself, well, what would it have been like to compete at Mr. Olympia natural? You don't have to question that. You gave it a go. It's signed, sealed, delivered.
Yes. So, I just think it's an incredible story, and it's really neat that I get to live it, because at any point during my career, you could say to me, you're going to make it to the Olympia. You're going to get on that stage, but you know what? You're going to be natural. I'd be like, get out of here. No way. You're out of your mind.
Yeah. Just goes to show you God has a good sense of humor, doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And the more years that go by, it really is it's very impactful in my life.
Well, there you are. You're a born-again Christian, happily married for 16 years. You work at a Christian non-profit ministry helping underserved children and the community. Tell us more.
It's called Arizona Baptist Children's Services. I'm the facilities and community outreach specialist. So we give out food, fresh fruit and vegetables on Monday. So I drive the truck and I go around to a few food stores and pick up the food donations, bring them to the area. We get them boxed out, and we have cars and people that line up, and we give that out on Mondays. But we also have a development center, a pregnancy center, a foster care, and then a resource center where people from the community can come in and get diapers for their kids, or bassinets, or toys, food boxes, donation bags. Our pregnancy center will, if girls are pregnant, we're obviously a Christian organization. We'll encourage them to come to Christ, to keep the child, or at least put it up for adoption so we can go through our foster care. So we just do a lot of wonderful things for the community. Everybody that works there is Christian. And since I've retired, I've done some construction jobs and things like that. And it's really wonderful to work in a Christian organization with just all these wonderful people. And it really feels good, because I'm serving God.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my job is the facilities guy. I kind of change the light bulbs or repair things. And, you know, we do have a cleaning crew and all that. But if toilet paper needs to be changed, like in between the 2 days that they're not there, I do that as well. So you could say I'm a glorified janitor in one way or the other. But I'm keeping the facilities nice for all the people that come through there, and I really feel like I'm serving God. So it's the best job I've had in my life. So
Sounds lovely, mate. Well done to you. You're grateful that you are healthy, still able to train people, jog, run, stretch, sprint even. After all that I've put my body through, you are currently at 190 pounds and feel better than ever. Yeah?
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Sprinting, huh? You do a bit of sprinting?
I do.
That's a tough one, sprinting, man.
I did a little track and field when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13. And I just always liked the feeling of running fast with the wind blown by your hair. And I just like moving. I like sports. I like being agile. I like being nimble. So it's just one of the things as we get older. I thought I heard someone say before, after the age of like 30 or 35, most men don't ever sprint at all after that. So I was like, you know what? I want to be able to keep sprinting into my 60s and 70s. Yeah. So I train about 3 times a week with weight resistance training. And then on Saturdays, I go for a walk the dogs. And then I try to do just a couple sprints, maybe a little bit up the hill, and nothing completely all out, but pretty good, you know. And then there's a golf course I live on, so I can run on the grass. So it's not as impactful on my knees and stuff. But it feels good to kind of just open the legs up a little bit, you know. Plus, it's a great defense mechanism, you know. You have to kind of give somebody a clock and then run away or something.
100%. But the thing is, many people don't sprint from 30 onwards, and many people don't even jump off fences, don't even jump down things. There's so many movements that stop after the age of 30. They break their leg. Well, but the thing is, sometimes doing stuff just helps you build strength towards it. But when you've given it away for so long, like not sprinting, not stepping down off things, jumping down off things, like, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm saying many people are too cautious to use the stairs or to do this or to do that. Like it's, I mean, we've really get into some comfort zones. I've also heard that people die at 30 and get buried at 80. So their lives have nothing for the next 50 years. So they stop living at 30 and they get buried at 80. So there's, you know, sometimes you've got to pay attention.
It's crazy to say that as I get older, I just want all my parts to work.
Yeah.
I thank God that, you know, I use really good form, and with all the weights that I lifted, the heavy weights that I lifted, that my elbows are good, my knees are good, and I just want to keep them all working good. Yeah,
so. Amen. I agree with you. You continue to lead a healthy life and continue to train and coach people online, in person, with a foundation of health and wellness. At this point, I really want to reach out to more people around the world that have a passion for bodybuilding and wellness. Well, there you go. Bodybuilding and wellness. They're 2 things that don't always come together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they don't. But yeah, everything I've been through, I wish I had a mentor maybe when I was younger, that not that it would have changed anything, but if they would kind of give me the information to be like, hey, your blood pressure needs to be under control. Hey, maybe this dosage a little high, you know. So if I can train people and give them that bit of knowledge, and they can do with it what they will, you know, because I train a lot of people and get people ready for shows. And, you know, if they want to take trend to the gills, I'll just give them my 2 cents. I was like, that's not the healthiest thing in the world, but you're a grown adult. You can do whatever you want to do. But I still want to at least give them the knowledge of how to do it as safely as possible, because there is life after bodybuilding, and they might not see it now, but, you know, I can see it a lot more clearly. And as a coach, I want to be able to kind of instill that in them.
Yeah, there is life after bodybuilding, but there's bodybuilding in life, and you just got to put the 2 together and keep it going, keep amongst it. So we're going to go over the body. We've come to kind of the end of the podcast. So I'm going to tell you a body part, and I just need 1 exercise, sets and reps. All right, just 1 exercise, sets and reps for the body part. And it's very simple. If I said to you, traps, give us an exercise, sets and reps. If you say you don't train them, you don't train them, I guess.
I would say dumbbell bent slightly forward, shrugs, shrugging up in front of you and then rolling behind you. 4 sets of Geez, I'm going to go 20.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's all right. Delts, side delts.
Well, that's a good one. Just pick one off the top of my head.
Just one.
I like to do very strict side laterals, preferably seated. Again, leaning forward,
Yep.
so you're getting the side delt.
Yep.
And I like to keep my arms as straight as possible, because if you keep the lever straighter,
Yeah.
you know that whatever weight you're using is going to be a longer lever to put more pressure on the side delt. And try to spend a little more time up here than you do down here. Kind of
Okay.
thing.
And how many sets and reps?
4 sets of 15.
Okay. Rear delts.
The rear delt machine,
Yep.
4 sets of 12.
Okay. Front delts.
Front 3 sets of front dumbbell raises.
Yep.
Say 3 sets of 12.
Okay. Back.
Back. Bent over rows.
Yeah.
4 sets of 8.
Yeah, good old stable, mate. Chest.
Ooh. I like the inclined barbell or inclined dumbbell.
Mm-hmm.
That might be 4 or 5 sets of, can I say pyramiding, where you're starting with like 12, 10, 8, 6, 5 kind of a deal?
Yep.
Yeah, starting at 12 and then working your way down to 5.
Okay. Bicep.
Bicep. Barbell curls, 4 sets of 10.
Okay. Tricep.
Tricep. Lying tricep extensions behind the head, 4 sets of 10.
So skull crushers.
Yeah, but not to your skull, behind your head.
Okay. Okay. Go. Yep. I wanted to. Yeah. I'm glad I verified that. Forearms.
I have trained them directly before, but if you're doing heavy deadlifts, you're and pull downs your first few sets without the wrist straps, you're getting forearm work.
Okay.
Well, if you're gonna hit me with I have to give an wrist curls on a bench.
Yep.
Rolling all the way down to the fingers, keeping your thumbs on the side. 3 sets of 20.
Yeah, I agree. Abs.
Hanging leg raises, 4 sets of 25.
Whoa, I'm already tired listening to that. It already hurts. Quads.
Squats.
Yep.
Pyramiding down 5 sets, 12 down to 5.
Oh, God. Hammies.
Leg curls, 4 sets of 10.
Seated or lying?
Lying leg curls,
4 sets of 12?
4 sets of 12.
Yep. Glutes.
Well, deep squats.
Yeah.
You've been doing your squats deep anyway, so I'm gonna go squats.
So it's part of what you said with quads.
Yeah.
Calves.
Seated calves, heavy. 4 sets of 15.
God, how can you go heavy? Oh, look, I just say it. No, tibialis. That's the front of the calf.
No.
Okay.
Don't work on it.
Okay. Well,
There's just one question from the viewers.
oh, we've got a question from a viewer. All right, and we need to write it down. All right. I need a pen. The question from the viewer is this, from Nate Dagstyle. I don't know who this person is. Do you know this person? I got a feeling you know him. That's why you're laughing.
I do. He's probably going to ask me.
He said, does he think he can win in a sprint against Nate?
Nate's a younger guy. Do I think? I guess we're going to have to race, huh?
Well, all right. The race is on. We're going to have to race. I've got to write this down, the answer. So the answer is, the question is, I guess we are going to have to race. 1 second. And you said he's a younger guy, and then you thought about it. He's a younger guy. All right. I got that. Perfect.
Well, kind of, as we bring up racing, I just want to say,
Yeah.
you know, Flex Lewis, right?
Yep.
So we raced one time. I think it was at the Excalibur.
Yep.
Before he turned pro, when I was already pro.
Yeah.
And we got to talking about how he was a fast sprinter, and I told him I'm fast. So you know how they have those long carpeted hallways
Yeah.
that kind of go forever. So we raced, and he beat me. He's fast. He's a little fast guy.
Right.
So anyway, I thought your viewers would get it.
Yeah. No. It could be even a little short there for the YouTube.
Flex, though.
Yeah, Flex. I mean, yeah. So, time to promote yourself, mate. Where can we find you? Tell people where to find you. Where is it? Websites, places, Instagram. You tell us.
My you can contact me on Instagram at IFBB Mike Morris.
Yep.
And my email is morrismj20.com. Most people contact me through my Instagram, and you can contact me through there. Personal training, health and wellness, contest prep, bulking up. I do it all.
Well, I want to say thank you so much, man. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for reaching out. I've got a friend now that I can come over and have probably a sparkling water with while he sits with his gun holster beside him. I mean, I have to get used to that, but
yeah, we'd love to have you out here.
We can have a look at
down the street so we can race, and then we can go shoot guns.
That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Thank you, mate.
Okay, Stephen. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Another podcast done with another wonderful guest. They're all greats, no matter who they are. So, to continue what we're doing and to keep supporting you and bringing the very best, if you could subscribe I'll just go stuff on this. If you could subscribe, hit the notification bell, press like, it only helps us to grow this channel even further. We really appreciate the support, and to go and find more all around the world. Bring them here to Muscle Talks podcast and share real, raw, and honest conversation around a sport we love, bodybuilding. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching this podcast. Thank you for watching all podcasts. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, and continue watching us here on YouTube or listening to us here on Spotify.